American Comics. Bug Arkham, Patient Batman. Chapter 41. I can try. Tai Chi was full of excitement. He believed everything Harley Quinn said, prioritizing trust in a fellow patient. He trusted that his fellow patient wouldn't trick him. How about no, Tai Chi? I'm afraid if she swings that bat, you might just see your parents, Lan Chi said, covering his face. Isn't that even better? Tai Chi didn't quite understand Lan Chi's expression or meaning. If you want to die, I can't stop you. Go ahead. Hearing this, Tai Chi turned to look at Harley Quinn, who was approaching with a grin and a baseball bat, and immediately shivered. I'd rather try a different treatment, Dr. Harleen. He finally understood what Lan Chi meant now. I'm Harley Quinn, not Harleen. Harley Quinn frowned. Alright, it seems Dr. Harleen, after becoming mentally ill, probably can't help us treat mental illness anymore. Lan Chi turned to Tai Chi beside him and whispered. I think so too. Tai Chi nodded. Harley Quinn looked at the two of them and asked, when are you going to take me to blow up Gotham? There's nothing here. I want to blow up Gotham. Great, she's still a mentally ill criminal, Lan Chi complained. Even when he and Tai Chi became mentally ill, they only committed crimes out of necessity. He didn't expect that Dr. Harleen from a parallel world would turn into a crazy little lunatic after becoming mentally ill. Grumble, grumble tilde. The sound of hunger came clearly from Harley Quinn's stomach. How come you're hungry too? Lan Chi asked. Why do you say, too? As a poor and helpless mental patient, isn't it normal for my stomach to be hungry? Harley Quinn said matter-of-factly. Mental patients are people too, they get hungry if they miss a meal. Even when she and Joker used to fight Batman, she would still eat an egg sandwich on the way back. Although Joker didn't often buy it for her, Harley Quinn, being a little lunatic, had her ways of getting the food that rightfully belonged to her. Can I order? Harley Quinn asked, walking behind Lan Chi. Tai Chi, meanwhile, was leading the 8-year-old intelligent Joker, preparing to find a phone booth to have Batman pick him up. I don't know either. Let me hand Joker over to Batman first. Lan Chi shook his head and said. Joker doesn't love me at all. He only ever loves Batman, and this guy isn't Joker either. Harley Quinn pouted and said. Originally, she thought she and Joker could be together forever and rule this city. But when Joker chose Batman over her in front of Riddler, it broke Harley's heart. Not to mention her good friend Poison Ivy constantly badmouthing Joker to Harley, which made her see what a scumbag Joker was. Are you going to blow up Gotham too? Harley Quinn asked, looking at Lan Chi, who had just knocked out a robber with an elbow. Blow up Gotham. That's not something we should do. Lan Chi pulled a wallet from the robber. It contained someone else's ID, a few US dollars, and some coins. We just want to cure mental illness, and along the way, we're just having a contest between Silent Bat and Batman. Lan Chi picked up the phone in the phone booth, dropped a coin in, and started dialing a number. Even in a parallel world, the phone number for Alfred, the butler of Wayne Manor, was still the same. Hello. Who is this? The person who answered didn't sound like the old man Alfred, but a young boy's voice. It seemed to be second-generation Robin Jason. Oh, you're Jason, right. Joker is in Otisburg District, in a phone booth about 500 meters from Knight Stadium. It seems he has some problems. You should hurry and have Batman come and take him back to Arkham Asylum. After speaking, Lan Chi hung up the phone and brought the 8-year-old intelligent Joker into the phone booth. Don't wander off. You've seen those robbers outside. If you go out and get your pants pulled down and get a beating, don't say I didn't warn you. Lan Chi said fiercely to the 8-year-old intelligent Joker. His fierce look almost made Joker cry. And this cowardly appearance made Harley Quinn even more certain that the Joker in front of her was not Mr. J who had abandoned her. Leaving Joker there, the three quickly left the area. About a few minutes later. Accompanied by the roaring engine sound like a wild beast, a cool, black Batmobile sped from a distance, scaring away the lurking gang members nearby. Run, it's Batman. That tight-suited pervert is here, run fast. Otherwise, your bones will be broken. The 8-year-old intelligent Joker looked at the fleeing thugs, somewhat at a loss. Although his IQ was 8, he also knew why these people were running away. It was all because of that man. The man in the black battle suit, with a bat symbol on his chest, like a bat in the night. Batman slowly walked to the phone booth, his tall body casting a shadow that directly enveloped the slightly trembling 8-year-old intelligent Joker. I have nowhere to go. Can you take me in? The 8-year-old intelligent Joker said timidly. He didn't know why, but when he saw Batman, his heart began to beat rapidly, as if it would jump out of his chest. It made him breathless. Was this love? Hearing the words of the 8-year-old intelligent Joker, Batman's expression froze. Something was wrong, very, very wrong. Joker wouldn't say such things, and certainly not in front of him, Batman. But his intuition told him that something was definitely wrong with Joker. Let's go. I'll take you back first, and we can get something to eat. Although he didn't know what had happened to Joker, he was actually quite happy to see Joker like this. His lips even curved slightly upward. I want ice. The 8-year-old intelligent Joker left the phone booth, looked timidly at Batman, and then whispered. Ice cream is available. Not that ice. Batman, who was about to take his hand, suddenly froze, then pulled out handcuffs and cuffed them to Joker's wrist. He knew it, a leopard doesn't change its spots, and neither does Joker. East District, Killer Croc's alley. Where did you find this big rat? How can such a creature exist? Harley Quinn was taking big bites of an egg sandwich while leaning on Killer Croc's back, who had turned into Killer Rat. The soft fur felt very comfortable to her. Oh, that's Killer Croc, he just ate my skewers and turned into this. Lan Chi, who was grilling skewers, replied. After speaking, he handed over a few chicken wings and pork skewers. Do you want some? Harley Quinn looked at Killer Rat, who was feasting, then looked at Lan Chi. I'd rather not. She shifted her gaze to Silent Bat nearby. He gave her a feeling somewhat similar to Batman, but not entirely. I've been to Arkham Asylum dozens of times, and I've never seen you two in the asylum. Are you from out of town? Silent Bat's deep voice sounded. We are from a parallel world. A parallel world. Hearing that phrase, Harley Quinn's pretty brows furrowed slightly, but the grin on her face grew wider and wider. Whoa, a Gotham from a parallel world. So, you're the old bat from a parallel world, and those two are the mental patients from a parallel world. Yes. Lan Chi nodded, then handed Killer Rat a large skewer of roasted rat meat. Remember to work after you finish eating. He patted Killer Rat's head, which was still eating. It was fluffy, much softer than that scaly head. Although he didn't know when the bug Killer Croc encountered would expire, Lan Chi felt that Killer Rat was at least better looking than Killer Croc, and his strength hadn't been significantly affected. Don't worry. As long as you provide food and lodging, I, Waylon Jones, will definitely work hard for you. With that, Killer Rat shoved the skewer into his mouth, his sharp fangs directly stripping all the charred rat meat down and swallowing it. You came to this Gotham from a parallel world, are you going to do something big? Harley Quinn asked excitedly. Blow up Gotham. Or kill our old bat here. Actually, we just came in out of curiosity, and then the door was closed, Tai Chi said, shaking his head. Lock me, the one from this world, into Arkham Asylum, and then I will take over this Gotham. Silent Bat suddenly spoke from beside them, his deep voice almost identical to the Batman Harley Quinn remembered. Even though she had already guessed, Harley was still slightly stunned when she heard a voice as deep as Batman's. Your voice is almost identical to the old bat hiding in the dark corners. Just as deep, just as uncomfortable to listen to. She covered her head, shook it a few times, and then continued to ask. So you want to replace this Batman? That's right, exactly. Lan Chi nodded, pointing to his head. You must have noticed, all three of us are mental patients, so it's normal for us to do things mental patients should do. Silent Bat. I'm not sick. Mental patients don't say they have a mental illness, the dull Tai Chi said from the side. Silent Bat. Forget it, I won't argue with these two mental patients. Aren't you afraid of being caught by the old bat in our world? Harley asked doubtfully, as if remembering some unpleasant memory. In fact, in her memory, the old bat was always able to disrupt Joker's plans and recapture the patients from Arkham Asylum. Just like Gotham's urban legends, the old bat was almost omnipotent. And they, the patients of Arkham Asylum, were also tirelessly creating chaos in this city, fighting against the old bat. No. Silent Bat shook his head confidently. Don't worry, I am absolutely confident he won't catch us. Lan Chi closed the lid of the grill, then walked to the middle of the group and said to Harley. Don't worry, his Batman only has one or two psycho freaks in tights, but we have several here. As he spoke, a set of dark, ferocious Batman armor appeared on Lan Chi's body. See, I have one here too. A deep voice echoed in Harley's ears, causing her pupils to constrict sharply. She stared intently at Lan Chi, who was now wearing the Batman armor, her somewhat problematic brain suddenly unable to process it. This mental patient in front of her suddenly put on Batman's armor, and even looked almost identical to Batman. The pointed ears on the helmet, the sturdy chest plate, and the dark cape behind him. Holy crap. Old Bat. Her eyelids twitched imperceptibly. You almost scared me to death. Your use of the hidden bug, Batman's armor, caused Harley Quinn's emotions to fluctuate violently, gaining 10 emotion points. Lan Chi retracted the Batman armor, and he was back in his original striking yellow Arkham Asylum patient gown. He stroked Killer Rat's fluffy head while looking at Harley. Do you want to join our patient group? After we take over this Gotham, we'll also help you treat your mental illness. A mental patient who doesn't want to be treated for mental illness is not a good mental patient, Lan Chi added. Harley Quinn was silent for a moment. Generally speaking, faced with the feat of taking down the old Bat, she naturally couldn't refuse. But the Batman armor on Lan Chi just now really startled her. What if this guy in front of her was the old Bat? It couldn't be ruled out. After all, the old Bat was really cunning. If the other party was really the old Bat, then wouldn't she, Harley Quinn, be completely under the control of this fooled old Bat? This kind of thing, just thinking about it was already fooling terrifying. Harley Quinn's expression changed slightly, a cunning and alert glint flashing in her eyes. How do you prove you're not Batman? What if this was a combined effort of Batman and a parallel world Batman to fool her, Harley Quinn? Although she, Harley Quinn, was crazy, she wasn't stupid, and she wouldn't be fooled by the old Bat. Batman has Robin by his side, but I only have fellow patients by mine. Lan Chi raised an eyebrow. How's that for an answer? As a mental patient, having fellow patients, each one a talent, was naturally the greatest proof. Unlike that guy Batman, who only had one or two tight-clad perverts accompanying him. Harley pondered for a moment and realized that it was indeed true. Although Batman chased lunatics and beat up idiots, Robin, who had always been his assistant, was clearly not a lunatic he brought out of some mental asylum. And none of these people looked like Robin either. In other words, this mental patient in front of her was not the old Bat. Excellent, you're a fool genius. She gave a thumbs up and walked over to the group, holding her baseball bat. So, what's our plan? She asked excitedly. Now that her concerns were gone, the next step was to target the old Bat, and of course, that annoying Robin by his side. Blow up Gotham. Or have the old Bat and Robin killed live on broadcast for the whole city to see. Substituting the plum for the peach, Lan Chi said calmly. Tai Chi didn't quite understand Lan Chi's words. What does that mean? It means locking Batman into Arkham Asylum, and then having Silent Bat, who came out of Arkham Asylum, replace him. Wasn't this plan devised by him just now? Lan Chi pointed to Silent Bat next to him. The plan to lock Batman into Arkham Asylum was not devised by him, Lan Chi, but by Silent Bat. He didn't want to be caught by Batman in an alleyway later, and then. Wayne Manor, Batcave. Joker has escaped from Arkham Asylum again. Robin Jason frowned as he looked at the data on the Batcomputer and the information previously sent by the police. He must have some new scheme, or something terrible has happened to him. Batman sat nearby, his eyes vacant, seemingly deep in thought. The image of Joker from a few days ago appeared in his mind, that cowardice and timidity were not fooled. But just as he was about to talk to Joker, he was startled to find that Joker's cell only held a poor innocent person. He still remembered what that innocent guy looked like, his face and hands covered in white grease paint, his lips painted scarlet. That innocent guy was dressed up like Joker. Even his behavior seemed hypnotized, only knowing to repeatedly perform a card dealing and shuffling motion. And this, do you want to come and see? Jason's voice seemed to carry a strange emotion. What? Batman walked over and saw the image displayed on the Batcomputer. It was a dark, unlit building, and a shadowy figure almost identical to Batman stood on top of it, revealing a grotesque, eerie smile. It's him. Batman instantly recognized that this was his parallel world self. That maniacal smile and uninhibited expression, no one could do it better than him. Except for Joker. But Joker would never dress up as Batman, he never did that. So the only answer was his parallel world self. What exactly does he want to do? Batman murmured, staring at the screen. Commissioner Gordon seems to have found some clues about this guy, do you want to go take a look? Robin asked. Go. I have a bad feeling. Batman stared intently at the Batcomputer. Whether it was his illusion or hallucination, he always felt that in the dark corners of the image, there were several lunatics with wide, pale, insane grins. As if they could pounce on him at any moment, and then turn him into a lunatic too. An abandoned amusement park near the Ace chemical plant in East Gotham. Rain fell continuously from the sky, bringing with it a damp, cold wind, creating the unique chill of Gotham. Are you sure you want this amusement park? The old man in the brown coat clutched his hands, a forced smile on his face, asking tentatively. In front of him was a man with a cane, pale face, slightly greenish hair, and a purple suit. Hearing the old man's words, the man's lips curled slightly upward. Look at this fooling place, tacky, ugly, and bums using it as a toilet, Bear asked. The animal rocking chairs are so dilapidated that children don't even want to sit on them. If they do, they'll either die or be crippled. The old man beside him felt a sudden jolt in his heart when he heard the man's words. So you don't like it here? He asked tentatively. Don't like it. Joker's mouth stretched into a wide grin, revealing a few pale teeth, and his eyes gleamed with a hint of madness. I'm going crazy for this place. Hearing this, the old man's face showed a fleeting moment of joy, then he gritted his teeth and controlled his facial expression. He was afraid the customer in front of him would see his happiness and back out of the deal. Then the price. Price is not an issue. Joker waved his hand generously and walked with the old man into the long-neglected amusement park. Looking at the circus clown reaching out his hand on the poster, Joker froze for a moment, then also extended his right hand, gloved in purple. Looking at the scene on the poster, his thoughts drifted back to the past. Back to the time before he fell into the chemical vat at the Ace chemical plant. His wife, and the child still in her womb. I guarantee you won't regret buying this place, it's not as dilapidated as it seems. The old man's voice interrupted his thoughts. He was tiptoeing, picking a relatively intact animal rocking chair, and climbing onto it. The exposed springs below were already corroded by rainwater, rusty and old. Even the seat on the animal rocking chair had become somewhat slippery, almost causing him to fall off. But even so, the old man still showed an embarrassed smile, sitting on it and rocking the animal rocking chair. You see, these animal rocking chairs are also very sturdy, they'll definitely make a great circus venue. Even though the springs could no longer support it and were almost completely broken, the old man was still talking shit, just to trick Joker into buying this amusement park that had been abandoned for many years. Ah, you're absolutely right. Thanks to your eloquence and thick skin, I've decided to buy this amusement park. Let's shake hands. After his thoughts were interrupted, Joker wasn't annoyed. He just smiled and extended his right hand. However, a miniature syringe was clearly visible in that right hand. It was nighttime, and the light was dim, so the old man couldn't clearly see what was in the other person's hand and directly gripped it. An unknown liquid was injected into the old man's body, and then only Joker's monologue could be heard. This really is a nice place. You're saying we might find Joker in this amusement park and get him to join us. Tai Chi looked at the somewhat dilapidated and eerie amusement park ahead, then at Harley Quinn beside him, confused. That's right. Harley Quinn nodded. Mr. J told me before that he was just a guy who told jokes at an amusement park, but then some changes happened, and he became like this. Anyway, this place looks surprisingly good. Lan Chi looked at the dilapidated amusement park with a satisfied expression. The surroundings were completely silent. There was nothing but the faint acidic drip of rainwater hitting the ground, mixed with the distant sound of police sirens and gunshots entering their ears. It can serve as our temporary base. Once the money is in place, we can start our plan, Silent Bat said in a deep voice. The few of them had walked here, encountering many robbers and gang thugs along the way. But under the heavy punches of 4 psychopathic perverts and a killer rat, not only were they not robbed by those hateful guys, but they also robbed those guys of their guns in return. After all, the East District could be considered Gotham's own little Florida. 99.99% of the people were either committing crimes or on their way to commit crimes. In a way, Lan Chi believed they were truly doing things Batman should be doing. It could also help Silent Bat adapt to life after replacing Batman sooner. Hey! Look! There's someone there. Tai Chi pointed ahead. A figure was sitting on a pink pig rocking chair. He walked forward and saw that the figure's brown coat was soaking wet, clearly having been rained on for a long time. Shit. Bro, how long have you been playing in this place? Tai Chi put one hand on the person's shoulder, walked to the front, and asked the other party. However. OMG, holy crap. You sour radish fool. His face changed drastically, and he quickly ran back to Lan Chi's side, even feeling like he would dream of the shadow he had just seen when he slept. This is too fooling terrifying, Tai Chi felt, seeing that thing almost cured his mental illness. What did you see? Lan Chi asked. Silent Bat and Harley Quinn walked forward to see what had just scared Tai Chi. There's a corpse tilde ah. Whether Tai Chi was getting sicker or not, Lan Chi always felt that his tone of voice was somewhat familiar, like a yak. This should be Mr. J's handiwork. Harley Quinn's voice reached his ears. Joker. Lan Chi strode to the old man on the animal rocking chair. He then saw that the old man's wrinkled face was filled with a look of madness, both eyes wide open, as if desperately trying to pop his eyeballs out of their sockets. His mouth was rigidly stretched into a grin, revealing yellowed teeth and an eerie, chilling smile. Chilling. The cold, icy rain mercilessly beat down on everyone. This should be Joker's laughing gas virus. Lan Chi picked up a miniature syringe from the ground nearby. Is this guy that dangerous? Tai Chi patted his little heart and said, standing aside. Suddenly discovering such a grinning corpse had almost scared his little heart out of him. He recalled his previous encounters with Joker, feeling somewhat fortunate that he hadn't been turned into that state by him. Aren't you quite dangerous too? Lan Chi looked at Tai Chi with a strange expression. I remember you can hypnotize many people, but why haven't I seen you hypnotize others much lately? Tai Chi. Isn't it because I'm waiting for your plan to start? Tai Chi said as if it were the most natural thing in the world. He was a mental patient. Hypnotizing so many people was very taxing on his mind. Okay. How could he hypnotize those guys all the time? Forget it, let's quickly sort out this amusement park. Joker might bring Batman here at any time. Lan Chi shook his head and said. Given Joker's nature, since he killed someone here, it's very likely he'll make this place where he confronts Batman. They just need to set up an ambush here, and with a few more hands later, Silent Bat can replace Batman. Lan Chi casually opened the door to one of the rooms. However, an old man, completely naked, and 4 or 5 equally naked dwarfs with stiff, maniacal grins appeared before him. Commissioner Gordon, I'm sorry, I disturbed you. Lan Chi's face remained unchanged, and he immediately closed the door. But his young mind felt as if it had suffered immense damage. That scene just now was too fooling eye-watering. Joker actually brought Commissioner Gordon here for an orgy. He wondered what Batman would think. What's wrong? Harley Quinn beside him pulled open the door, sticking her head in to see what was inside. However, a hand blocked her view, and at the same time, Lan Chi's voice came through. Girls shouldn't look at this, be careful you don't get a sty. These guys are having an orgy, it has nothing to do with us, Lan Chi explained, shielding Harley Quinn's view. Only. The terrified screams coming from inside the house didn't sound like what he said at all. Help me. I'm Gordon. Commissioner Gordon of the Gotham City Police Department. Lan Chi, who was about to push Harley out, paused, then directly turned around. Shit. You're Commissioner Gordon. Lan Chi curled his lip, looking at the naked old Gordon. How did you end up like this? I thought the Joker was inviting you to an orgy. Apparently caught in the act of preparing to take Gordon's virginity, the several dwarves charged at Lan Chi with ferocious expressions. It's hilarious, would Lan Chi, who possesses the strength of the boss, be afraid of these few dwarves? The answer is no. Because, man, a powerful elbow strike directly sent the small dwarf who jumped up to hit his knee flying, and then he fiercely kicked several times. Each kick accurately landed on these guys' vital parts. So, under everyone's gaze, the originally normal colored eggs directly turned into the appearance of purple mangosteens. You're welcome, this is all as it should be. To help you gays prevent AIDS, it's only right that I do my part, Lan Chi said. The several dwarves knelt on the ground, covering their vital parts, their faces flushed purple, their expressions ferocious, unable to even speak. It seemed they must be very grateful to Lan Chi for performing physical sterilization on them. Otherwise, why would they be kneeling on the ground with flushed faces? Isn't that because they're too excited to thank Lan Chi, to the point of being speechless? Oh, why is there an old man with nothing on in this place? Tai Chi felt a wave of nausea after seeing the scene inside. Ever since he was treated by Dr. Harleen, he hadn't been as interested in the same romance as before. Could that Joker guy also be gay? It's not impossible. Lan Chi nodded. It looks like the Joker is probably holding a forced orgy. Maybe he even wants to trick Batman into joining this orgy. Luring ignorant superheroes in, then directly XXOO, and beating them with sticks. Combined with the Joker's sudden change of expression, comparable to a Sichuan opera face changer, when he heard about Lan Chi and Batman's relationship in his villa earlier. Perhaps the Joker is indeed gay, otherwise why would he abandon Harley Quinn, such a beautiful little lunatic? Was the little lunatic not wild enough? Tai Chi speculated, I heard that when the Joker was looking for Harley before, it was just to cover up the fact that he was gay. Harley Quinn was stunned at the words, what the fool? Is there really such a saying? She thought carefully, recalling the events between herself and the Joker, and between the Joker and Batman. Shit. That fool Joker, I should have known his love for Batman was pathological, not pure. I can't believe that guy is a fooled, hellish gay. Luckily you escaped from his clutches, otherwise the news spread outside would be Harley Quinn and a gay, Lan Chi gloated. Harley quickly covered Lan Chi's mouth with her hand, her face full of disgust. Alright, stop talking, just thinking about it makes me feel a bit sick. Why did I ever like a guy like that? We're not sure, but now, that Joker guy might be attracting Batman's arrival. Lan Chi shook his head and said. We just need to sit back and watch the tigers fight, and strike at the critical moment. This wasn't our original plan, Silent Bat said in a deep voice. But don't you usually have a plan B? Lan Chi spoke up, so that plan will be plan B. I say, cough cough, can you guys save me first? Naked Gordon lay on the ground with a collar around his neck, like a dog. Commissioner Gordon, don't worry, we won't tell anyone about you being XXOO'd and humiliated by the Joker, Lan Chi said while unfastening Gordon's collar. Shit. I was just stripped naked by that guy and had some embarrassing photos taken, that's all. Old Gordon immediately tried to prove his innocence, even turning around specifically to let everyone get a good look at his virginity. See, I'm pure and innocent. Shit. Who wants to see your virginity, old man? Lan Chi suddenly felt that this Gordon of Gotham was a bit abnormal. After all, what normal person would show there to four psychopaths? Could it be due to a bug? Rainy night. Pitter-patter. Rain hit the walls and ground, making a rustling sound. A chilling aura mixed with a faint sour smell fermented in the air. Robin Jason jumped down from the rooftop alone, landing steadily on the rooftop of the short building next to him. He gazed at the amusement park not far away. The old, dilapidated buildings were deserted, looking exactly like a haunted house from a movie in the rainy night. Only, looking at the empty amusement park, memories of his childhood resurfaced in the teenager's mind. Although his family's financial situation was not good at the time, his parents still did their best to give him the best. Even when Jason said he wanted to go to the amusement park like most children, the couple saved money for 2 months. They took young Jason and entered the amusement park together. Laughter and joy, never tiring of it. Everything from the past flashed before his eyes, but now only he remained. The amusement park, too, had become dilapidated, no longer the bustling place it once was. Everything had changed. He slowly walked forward. The area around the amusement park was eerily quiet, with only the muffled sounds of people talking reaching his ears. As soon as Commissioner Gordon was captured and the Joker's location was pinpointed, he immediately rushed over. While Batman was comforting Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara, he intended to take down the Joker alone. He needed to prove he was capable of handling the job, that he was worthy of being Batman's assistant. It would be best if he could kill this psychopathic pervert. That way, no more mentally ill criminals would be caught by Batman, sent to Arkham Asylum, and then escape to harm others. The crime rate would also significantly decrease, and Gotham would become better and better. He crouched and cautiously crept to the window where the sounds were coming from, straining his ears to listen carefully to what was happening inside. Will Batman really come? Relax, Commissioner Gordon has been caught by Boss Joker, and he even took nude photos. Once the newspaper publishes them tomorrow, the whole city will see Commissioner Gordon's charming body. He. That fool old Gordon, he wouldn't even say where Batman was, even if it meant death. Hearing these people's conversation, Jason frowned, not expecting Commissioner Gordon to have been treated this way. Without the slightest hesitation, Robin, wearing green shorts, charged in. Someone's here. It's Batman's assistant, Robin. Quick, kill him. Dull thuds mixed with faint sounds of bones cracking, and gradually, several figures collapsed to the ground, unconscious. The fighting techniques he learned from Batman were truly effective. In 2 or 3 punches, these 3 or 4 Joker gang members were knocked out by Robin. This place looked like a warehouse, with various discarded amusement park facilities and stacked items placed to the side. There was also a faint, damp, musty smell filling his nostrils. The Joker seems to be up ahead. Jason listened to the sounds from the front, using the cover of the walls and old equipment, slowly moving forward. If he could take down the Joker by himself, even Batman wouldn't say anything to him then. However, surprise. A cold pistol was aimed at Jason, who was still cautiously moving forward. The hollow muzzle was pressed directly against his head, making him involuntarily swallow. Jason looked up, gradually seeing a pale face with an exaggerated, insane smile. His green hair and purple suit already indicated his identity. Joker. Sorry, kid, it looks like you didn't come with Batman. The Joker's wide grin was somewhat chilling, and even several burly Joker gang members behind him stared at Jason with mocking expressions. They seemed to have guessed long ago that Robin would come to this place. You deliberately left clues. Seeing the mocking smiles on everyone's faces, Jason immediately realized. This seemed to be the Joker's plan, and he had already stepped into the trap. Hey, what else? The Joker smiled triumphantly. Everything is going according to my plan. I know Batman much better than you do, little Robin. Jason gritted his teeth, clenched his fists, and suddenly tensed his muscles, swinging a punch at the Joker's head. However, bang! Intense pain shot through his arm, even deep into his bones, making him feel as if his arm bones had been brutally shattered. Jason grunted, clenched his other fist, and was about to swing again. But a Joker gang member behind him grabbed his hair, and another directly held down his arm. Come on, little bird boy. The Joker held a crowbar, looking at Robin in front of him with a mocking expression. Aren't you a great partner with Batman? Living with Batman every day, fighting criminals together, it must feel amazing. Scarlet blood slowly dripped from Jason's nose. He stared intently at the Joker, wishing he could kill him. What kind of look is that? The party has just begun. Accompanied by the Joker's maniacal laughter, Robin Jason was continuously punched and kicked by these Joker gang thugs. Blood constantly flowed from his wounds, and in some places, his bones were even shattered. Scarlet blood blurred his vision. He wanted to resist, but how could a teenager have enough strength to fight against these muscular strongmen? What you just did to Uncle Joker isn't what a good child would do. The Joker gripped the crowbar and slowly walked in front of Jason, his face filled with a crazy smile. The light hit his back, and his shadow enveloped Jason, who was curled on the ground, spitting blood. A chill suddenly rose in Robin's heart. You're a disobedient bad child and need to be punished. Get ready to receive a severe beating, kid. Let me tell you how Batman's assistant should act. Hey. Batman's little partner. Accompanied by the Joker's maniacal laughter, the hard steel crowbar swung down fiercely. In an instant, blood splattered, and the sound of cracking bones was clearly audible. Jason. In the pitch-black rainy night, Batman sped through the streets of the East End on his Batcycle. The motorcycle raced through a puddle at an extremely high speed, splashing water all over a nearby pedestrian. Logically speaking, in this place, a pedestrian would usually pull out a gun and fire a whole clip at the guy who splashed him with water. However, this is Gotham, especially Gotham's East End, where a saying goes: when you see Batman, it's best not to provoke him. You might not die, but at the very least, a few bones will be broken, or you'll be sent to the hospital for a few days of recovery, then arrested by the police and locked in a cell. And all the expenses for this must be borne by you. Not only suffering pain but also incurring debt, such a thing is unacceptable to anyone. The Bat cycle sped all the way towards the abandoned amusement park, but Batman's brows were tightly furrowed. An ominous premonition spontaneously arose in his heart. The Bat cycle quickly stopped near the abandoned amusement park. Batman rushed forward and saw an old man sitting stiffly on a pink pig rocking chair. The dull, pale, and stiff crazy smile on his face made his heart sink. I hope you're all right, Jason. He had already received news from Alfred that Jason had arrived at Joker's amusement park more than 10 minutes before him. This child had been like this lately, impulsive, reckless, even giving him a headache. He clearly knew that second-generation Robin Jason alone could not possibly deal with Joker. He might even be captured by Joker, or by his parallel world counterpart. No matter who Robin was captured by, it was not the outcome Batman wanted to see. He desperately rushed towards the warehouse in front of the amusement park, which was where he had investigated Joker to be hiding. Even his adopted son, Jason, might be inside. Jason, wait for me. He roared, rushing to the warehouse door. However, boom! A huge impact, mixed with fire, blew the entire warehouse into countless fragments, and ruins appeared before Batman. Even he himself was blown back several meters by this huge shockwave. He was also hit by rubble, and bruises appeared all over his body, causing intense pain. Batman got up and stared blankly at the ruined warehouse, as if he had thought of something, and frantically searched through the ruins in front. Jason, Jason. He called his adopted son's name repeatedly, wanting to find his body. I told you not to deal with Joker alone. Why didn't you wait for me? Why didn't you listen to me? Why? I failed to see that you were too young to be Robin. Why am I so stupid? Batman needed a second Robin, but that was only because he had lost first-generation Robin Dick Grayson. Once a person experiences the feeling of companionship, they will fear loneliness. He didn't want to be lonely, so he adopted this child and made him the second-generation Robin. But now, he brought this innocent child into this crazy death game. He, Batman, killed second-generation Robin Jason Todd. Batman. Commissioner Gordon, dressed in a simple piece of clothing, stumbled over. Shit. What is God doing? How could he make a 40 or 50-year-old man run naked in the rainy night? Gordon. Batman, immersed in sadness, was startled and turned to look at Gordon, who was only covered by a piece of cloth. Where is Joker? He asked in a low voice. His gloomy face and suppressed angry tone made Gordon feel a subtle chill. Right there, Batman. He pointed to a building not far away, which had a somewhat strange architectural style. The entire house resembled a grotesque Joker head, with the entrance being a gaping maw. It was as if once you entered, you would be devoured by the house and never come out again. Based on Batman's experience, he could tell at a glance what Joker was planning. He had always used Joker's insanity as an excuse for his crimes. But now, Jason's death made him instantly realize one thing. He could no longer make this mistake. Let the law punish him. Batman, we cannot do the wrong thing. Gordon's voice still echoed in his ears. Without hesitation, Batman rushed into that fool building. As soon as he entered, countless mirrors illuminated his body, making his reflection distorted and crazed. How delightful, Batman, I didn't expect you to actually come. A voice hinting at madness came from the depths. Joker. It's time to settle things between us, both me and you. Batman charged forward in anger, but his rage caused the incredibly intelligent Batman to step into Joker's trap, almost falling. Sharp steel spikes gleamed with a terrifying cold light. If he hadn't gripped the ground with one hand, he would have almost been impaled by the spikes below. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. The true hunter often hides in the back, waiting to ambush the remaining victor at any time. Inside an amusement park control room not far behind Joker. Lanchi and Silent Bat were observing the confrontation between Joker and Batman. Jason, whose bones were shattered from Joker's beating, lay on the ground, gasping for breath, the intense pain making him constantly suck in cold air. Phew, thank you, you brought my parents back to life last time, and this time you saved my life. Second generation Robin Jason had recognized Lan Chi and Tai Chi as the two insane people he had encountered last time. I suggest you take back your thanks for now, because if you knew what we were going to do, you might even fight us. Lan Chi waved his hand and said. How is that possible? Jason's first reaction was disbelief. That's certainly possible. Tai Chi retorted. Our target is Batman. Your Batman here is clearly having some mental issues and needs to be admitted to Arkham Asylum for treatment, and then our Silent Bat will take over and replace your Batman. Lan Chi explained. Now, are you still thanking us? He turned to look at the blood-covered Jason. You're going to act against Batman. Jason seemed a bit slow to react. It was said clearly just now, of course, then our Bruce will help us find a psychiatrist to treat the mental illness. Tai Chi added. Jason silently looked at Silent Bat in the shadows, and the three insane people present. His gaze passed through the window and rested on the man in the purple suit in front. Recalling what these guys had just said, second-generation Robin's heart sank slightly. Bruce from a parallel world, and these few insane people, can Bruce really resist them? Tai Chi, Joker is yours in a moment, then you use this portal gun to give him a good torture. Preferably get some portal fluid out, so we can go back and see Jack and Alfred. Lan Chi handed the green portal gun to Tai Chi, motioning for him to torture Joker and obtain portal fluid when Joker and Batman were both injured. Don't worry, leave it to me. Perhaps it was his mental illness acting up, but when it came to torturing others, Tai Chi's face showed a perverted smile. Accompanied by the sound of breaking glass, Batman and Joker wrestled together. Batman's angry voice, mixed with Joker's maniacal laughter, suddenly grew louder. This joke is not funny at all. You killed Robin, that 17-year-old child. He's still a child. On Lan Chi's side, everyone's eyes were also on the two figures. Joker's maniacal voice was full of unbridled, wanton madness. Ha 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 ha. He's crazy, Gotham is crazy, and I'm crazy. Batman, you're crazy too, we're all crazy. Do you think I'll go crazy like you? Batman glared at Joker with a distorted face, his low voice laced with anger. I just saw Commissioner Gordon, and he told me what you did to him. He grabbed Joker by the collar, his dark, angry eyes fixed on the other man. Even though you did many perverted and evil things to him, he's still the same as always. As normal as can be. Joker hastily pulled a syringe filled with laughing gas virus from his pocket, a wide grin on his face. Only madness is the true color of this city, Batman. However, Batman's alertness had already detected his small movement. He suddenly stomped hard on Joker's right hand, the immense force directly crushing Joker's right hand bones. Crack. A crisp sound of bones cracking accompanied by a sharp pain came from Joker's right hand. And as Joker felt this intense pain, especially the pain Batman inflicted upon him, the smile on his face began to become even more exaggerated. Ha ha ha. Gotham City has already gone mad, haven't you felt it? Don't deceive yourself, old bat. Joker, this is your last chance, you. What if I don't want this chance? Will you let your little assistant Robin come and catch me? Joker's face was full of arrogant, triumphant smiles. Look, your assistant and you have both found me here. Even if I'm crazy, I still know that 2 + 2 equals. It equals 5. Batman roared. Ha ha. I knew it, you're happy to be rid of that kid. Joker's loud laughter seemed to be intentionally amplified, the words directly reaching the ears of Robin Jason, who was lying on the ground not far behind him, in pain all over. He struggled to stand up from the ground, his blood-blurred vision fixed on Batman, who was holding Joker. His heart was uneasy, wondering what Batman would say, but then it quickly darkened. Compared to catching a supervillain, a mere Robin is just an assistant who can be replaced at any time. However, you always know what to say to make people the most uncomfortable. Joker. Of course. Joker suddenly turned around, 2 fingers of his right hand directly digging into the 2 eye holes on Batman's cowl. Ow. Batman let out a low cry of pain. Joker, meanwhile, laughed maniacally, a sharp folding dagger appearing in his hand as he stood behind Batman. He grinned, his pale smile indescribably eerie and terrifying. Batman. Die. Joker squinted, raised his right hand, and the glinting dagger stabbed fiercely towards Batman's back. Whoosh. A clear whoosh of wind entered his ears, but there was no imagined scream from Batman. What's going on? He opened his eyes, only to find someone completely unexpected appearing before him. Jason. Batman's voice trembled slightly. He looked at the figure, whose red battle armor was already stained with blood, and whose face was bruised and swollen, appearing to be severely injured. Robin gritted his teeth and used both hands to block Joker's dagger, blood constantly flowing from his hands. At the same time, he turned his head and shouted loudly to Batman behind him. Batman. Go quickly, their target is you. Even though Lan Chi had resurrected his parents for a period, he couldn't bear to watch his adoptive father, Batman, be replaced by Silent Bat. How could he do such a thing? He couldn't do it. He really couldn't do it. Hearing Robin's words, Batman was stunned, his thoughts racing. However, before he could finish thinking, Lan Chi and Silent Bat, among others, suddenly rushed out and surrounded him. Batman. Or perhaps a parallel worlds. Wait, don't let me know this guy's real name, otherwise this game won't be fun. Joker spoke from the side. Lan Chi silently glanced at him. As a psychopath, he could understand Joker's thoughts. Okay, Mr. Batman, I'm sorry to inform you that you have a mental illness, your mind is a bit abnormal, and we need to send you to Arkham Asylum for treatment. Batman was stunned. Me to Arkham Asylum for treatment. And I have a mental illness. How come I don't know? I'm not mentally ill, he immediately retorted. You see, this is a symptom of mental illness. People with mental illness generally don't say they are mentally ill. Lan Chi said to Tai Chi and Harley Quinn, who was holding a baseball bat, next to him. Tai Chi nodded. He had understood this truth long ago, and because of the strange thought processes of mentally ill people, he could understand Lan Chi's meaning. Harley Quinn, meanwhile, was full of excitement, her face flushed, staring intently at Joker and Batman. He. Looks like someone's in for trouble. Lan Chi and Tai Chi looked at Harley Quinn with a bit of confusion. Shit. This guy wasn't like this before. Could it be that seeing Batman and Joker both injured and then caught by us made her fool? Batman. I think you three look more like lunatics who escaped from a mental hospital. Jason, what's their situation? He and Robin stood back to back, staring intently at Silent Bat and Joker, who were showing eerie smiles in front of them. I was injured by Joker before, and this guy set up a bomb to kill me, but then I was saved by them, Jason said. Be careful of them, their goal is Gotham City. Although you saved Jason, I advise you to return to Arkham Asylum and surrender. Let the doctors inside help you treat your mental illness. Batman looked at the orange Arkham Asylum patient uniforms on Lan Chi and Tai Chi, trying to persuade these two mentally ill individuals to turn over a new leaf and cooperate with treatment. You seem a bit naive. Silent Bat suddenly rushed in front of him, delivering a direct punch to Batman's chest. They are all my fellow patients, so I must let the doctors I find treat them. Batman retreated a few steps, crossing his arms over his chest to block Silent Bat's next kick. And he secretly attached a miniature bomb to Silent Bat's thigh. Do you think I didn't notice? Silent Bat grabbed the miniature bomb on his thigh and threw it into the distance. With a bang, the bomb exploded, illuminating with fire. Batman's face slightly darkened as he witnessed this scene, and he suddenly rushed forward. The two immediately engaged in a fierce battle, fighting inextricably. Harley, I'm glad you came to save me, Joker said with a smile to Harley. However, what greeted him was Harley's thick, large baseball bat. With a bang, Harley Quinn swung the baseball bat and slammed it hard onto Joker's head. The sound was very clear and loud. So loud, it must have been a good hit. Who's your Harley? Harley Quinn cursed. Tai Chi, you must torture him severely later, Lan Chi said to Tai Chi. Tai Chi's face was serious. Don't worry, although I'm not gay, when it comes to torturing people, I, Jervis Tech, am very good at it. Mr. J, how does it feel to be in Harley Quinn's hands now? Harley grinned, her face full of triumphant smiles. Looking at Joker's bleeding head, she only felt the anger in her chest release. It was simply better than shit. Harley, aren't you afraid I'll kill you later? Joker raised his throbbing head, threatening her. You'd better worry about yourself first. Tai Chi walked over, holding a teleportation gun, a twisted smile on his face. Stop fighting. Don't fight anymore. Robin Jason, enduring his severe injuries, pulled out a plastic bomb from his pocket, wanting to help Batman. However, Killer Rat, who suddenly darted out from the side, abruptly tackled him to the ground. Robin, this is a battle between Batman and Batman. You can't interfere, otherwise I won't be able to eat barbecue later. How much did they pay? We'll pay double. Jason said angrily. Killer Rat was stunned, and then began to count on his fingers. They paid. Seeing Killer Rat actually start counting money, Lan Chi gave him a big slap on the head. Are you really counting? No more roasted rat meat later. Just as everyone was talking. Not far away, the exhausted Batman was suddenly punched in the chest by Silent Bat, and a miniature bomb attached itself to Batman the moment of contact. Bang! With a dull thud, Batman's strong body collapsed. Arkham Asylum. You won't succeed. Batman struggled, a pink rope folded in half across his chest, looped around his neck, and passed between his legs, binding his entire body in a shameful manner. His face was grim as he tried to speak into his earpiece to Alfred back at Wayne Manor. Gotham's waters run deeper than you imagine, you can't control them. However, Silent Bat had already noticed his small movement, snatched the earpiece, and crushed it. After hearing Batman's words, Lan Chi raised an eyebrow. I feel like this guy is sicker than Bruce from our world. Indeed, while Bruce in our world is a bit sick, at least he isn't stupid. Unlike this world's Bruce, who, despite having no chance of winning and being a captive, is still saying meaningless things. Tai Chi nodded earnestly, fully agreeing with Lan Chi's point of view. Silent Bat. The bound Batman. Holy shit. Does saying these things as a captive really make him look like an idiot? Batman didn't believe it, he just felt that these lunatics in front of him were seriously ill and needed drastic treatment from a doctor. Just wait, you will, MMPH. Before the clever Batman could finish speaking, a ball-shaped gag was stuffed into his mouth. The elastic leather straps on both sides were tightened and fastened behind his neck. Batman. MMPH MMPH MMPH. He was bound by these lunatics in a humiliating posture, and shamefully, he was gagged. Next to Lan Chi, the Joker, who was bound in the same position, saw Batman's appearance and couldn't help but laugh. However, his body's shameful reaction was still caught by Harley. Shit. I knew it, Joker, you fool, godfool, you've been deceiving my feelings for so long, turns out you're a gay man. Seeing the Joker's reaction, Harley immediately raised her baseball bat and brutally smashed it into the Joker's lower body. Accompanied by a clear cracking sound, the Joker's face, which had been wildly laughing, instantly became distorted. Oh, it's broken, hiss. Intense pain surged, and even as a lunatic, he couldn't withstand it. He struggled continuously, wanting to pull out his hands to cover the injured area, but his hands were already tied by the ropes and he couldn't free them. Thus, in front of Lan Chi and Tai Chi, the Joker twisted and writhed in immense pain, like a maggot tied up by someone. Lan Chi. He looked at the baseball bat in Harley's hand, then at the Joker continuously writhing on the ground. Holy shit. Lunatics are really full and terrifying, especially female lunatics. Tai Chi, who was next to him, subconsciously covered his lower body when he saw this scene. Why do I feel a bit chilly down there? Me too, Lan Chi and Silent Bat said from beside him. Harley grabbed the Joker's green hair and turned to ask Lan Chi, after we lock Batman up, where do we go? To that place from before, Killer Rat's home. It's also very close to the door where we first arrived. If the door opens, we can go back immediately. Lan Chi felt that since he, Tai Chi, and Silent Bat hadn't returned for so long, Jack, Alfred, and Dr. Harleen on the other side were probably getting anxious. Of course, the most important thing was that he felt his and Tai Chi's conditions were getting worse. If they didn't get treatment soon, they might become even more insane. The group randomly locked the shamefully bound Batman into a cell, then left with the Joker. Bang! The cell door slammed shut, completely blocking out the last sliver of light. Batman raised his head and looked around. He wanted to free his hands to escape the restraints, but his hands and feet were tightly bound by ropes. He couldn't exert any strength. He was tied dead tight. Slurp. In the dark cell, a strange sound suddenly came from the shadows. Batman's movements paused, and he turned his head, staring intently at that shadow. An ominous premonition fermented in his heart. Immediately after, 4 strong men, wearing very little cloth, emerged from the darkness. These men were full of muscles, even sweating, exuding an inexplicable philosophical aura. Let's see who this is. Oh, it's Batman. Haha, use all your might to give the little bat ultimate pleasure. The men's faces showed smiles that made Batman feel a bit disgusted, and their ambiguous gazes made him uncomfortable. And when his gaze fell on the various tools and durians in the 4 men's hands, his scalp tingled slightly, and his heart couldn't help but tremble. Shit. They're full and gay men. Alfred, Jason, save me. Holy shit. Awesome. This is unbelievably awesome. The Joker's limbs were spread out on a cross, and Tai Chi's face was filled with a perverted smile as he continuously tormented this guy. Ha ha ha, there's more to come. Tai Chi's perverted laughter and the Joker's wild laughter mixed together, the voices of 2 madmen intertwining, like a song composed by a madman. Crazy, perverted, and fool. Sometimes I really feel like Tai Chi might have some hidden hobbies, or he's a cunning one. Lan Chi stood outside the alley, stroked Killer Rat's head, and felt a little emotional as he blew in the chilling night wind. The perverted, crazy sounds continued, and the robbers who had originally intended to rush forward immediately turned tail and went to find other unlucky victims. This place was Killer Rat's original base. Although he didn't have much money and couldn't hire too many subordinates, with Killer Croc's name, no gang dared to encroach on his territory. Soon, Tai Chi walked out with a portal gun full of portal fluid. Lan Chi, look, I really lived up to expectations. He held up the green portal gun in his hand, filled with an inexplicable liquid, the portal fluid. Holy shit. Tai Chi, I knew you were good at this job. And the moment he saw the portal gun filled with portal fluid, Lan Chi couldn't help but widen his eyes. He had been troubled about how to refill Rick's portal gun, which he had extracted using a bug skill. But he never expected that Tai Chi, this genius, had actually found the correct way to use this thing. Well done, Tai Chi. From now on, you'll be in charge of refilling the portal fluid. Lan Chi praised. Tai Chi scratched the back of his head, a bit reserved. It's a small matter. We're all fellow patients, I'll definitely help you with this. Don't worry, Tai Chi, if I have meat to eat, you'll have soup to drink. Lan Chi said with a serious face. Tai Chi. Silent Bat. Holy shit. How can you say such shameless words with such confidence? Harley Quinn couldn't help but complain. When I was very young, my dad told me, son, a man without shame is invincible. Remember this, and you'll live better than most people. At that time, I kept this profound saying in my heart, and even after I became a lunatic, I still didn't forget my father's earnest teachings. Lan Chi's eyes were full of memories, seemingly recalling his past life father's various teachings to him. For example, if the sky falls, someone with a big penis will hold it up, some people have tofu dregs in their brains, don't bother with them, and so on. However, recalling it, Lan Chi was still a bit curious whether the brains of those people with tofu dregs in their heads could be eaten. And if they could be eaten, what would they taste like? Lan Chi, Lan Chi. While Lan Chi was pondering, Tai Chi's hand waved constantly in front of his eyes, pulling his thoughts back. What's wrong, Tai Chi? He asked. Tai Chi pointed with a joyful face to a door that suddenly appeared on the road next to the alley. Look, the door to go back has opened. Lan Chi immediately looked in the direction he was pointing. He saw a door suddenly appear on the dark, empty, smelly street. The door had a clear sign, Wayne Manor No. 1903. Lan Chi and Silent Bat were instantly stunned, staring blankly at that place. Holy shit. We've already thoroughly tormented Batman and the Joker, and you're telling me the door opened now. You two go back first, get cured, then come over. Silent Bat immediately made this decision. After all, they had just locked Batman in Arkham Asylum and hadn't fully taken his place yet. If this parallel world's Batman disappeared, and Joker or other villains put on Batman's clothes to impersonate Batman, then his chances would greatly diminish. Even if he was Bruce Wayne, and he looked exactly like his parallel world counterpart, others wouldn't believe him. They might even think this guy was a fanatical Bruce fan, who had plastic surgery to look like him, morbidly wanting to become Batman. Of course, we're going back, Lan Chi said, nodding. Dr. Harleen's treatment plan for me has just begun. If it weren't for that Tai Chi, I might still be receiving good treatment from Dr. Harleen right now. What do you mean, if it weren't for me? That night, Lan Chi, you yourself wanted to push open the door and then said how wonderful the outside world was, okay. Seeing Lan Chi about to pin the blame on him, Tai Chi immediately lifted the black pot. He was mentally ill, true, but he wasn't a scapegoat. If you hadn't tempted me, saying there were beautiful girls outside the door, I would never have pushed the door open and come in, Lan Chi argued, holding Harley's hand. What are you doing now? Tai Chi glanced at Lan Chi, then at Harley beside him. What kind of look is that? I'm checking if my fellow patient's condition has worsened. Lan Chi spoke with righteous indignation, his serious demeanor making him seem like a real doctor. Holy shit. Harley, do you believe he's a doctor? You're the psychologist. Tai Chi turned to look at Harley Quinn, his face full of distrust for Lan Chi. However, Harley, though a little crazy, didn't have time to mess around with these two guys right now. She gave Lan Chi and Tai Chi a look as if they were idiots, then walked over to Silent Bat. Shit. Did she just look at us like we're idiots? You are idiots, Tai Chi said quietly. Lan Chi. Having you is my happiness, Tai Chi. Sending you two back isn't just for you to get cured, Silent Bat continued. This parallel world's Gotham also has others who are close to Batman, and it's very likely they'll go to war with us for him. So you two go back and help me sort out that Gotham's mess as soon as possible, then have Jack and Alfred and others bring some people to this parallel world. Us. Lan Chi pointed to himself, looking at Silent Bat with some disbelief. You're asking us two mental patients to help you solve so many problems in Gotham, is that really appropriate, Bruce? Harley. Wow, I think I know who Batman is. You two aren't ordinary mental patients, Silent Bat said in a deep voice. I know, you mean extraordinary, right? Tai Chi interjected, joking. Never mind. Lan Chi grabbed Tai Chi and gave Silent Bat the middle finger. You're truly my good fellow patient. Someday, I'll definitely let your parents see you doing your traditional craft on the streets of Gotham. With that, he led Tai Chi across the door without a second thought, leaving this parallel world. Silent Bat watched their retreating figures, the smile on his face gradually disappearing, his eyes becoming incredibly sharp. He turned and led Killer Rat and Harley Quinn into the alley. Let's go, we're going to become this city's Batman. Can we eat our fill? Killer Rat asked foolishly. Yes. Can we blow up Gotham? Harley revealed a crazed smile. Not for now. Shit. This fooled, ghostly moldy smell, I'm back, but it's Gotham again. Lan Chi took a deep breath, only to smell a faint sourness and damp mold in the air. The familiar Gotham scent. It's true, the Gotham I lived in for 2.5 years suits me best. That parallel world was too chaotic. You're right, Tai Chi stood beside him, babbling. Lan Chi Master, Tai Chi Master, you two are finally back. Alfred had been waiting outside the door and naturally saw Silent Bat, Killer Rat beside him, and Harley Quinn. Who was that girl just now, wearing a super short skirt, holding a baseball bat, and with super exaggerated makeup on her face? Dr. Harleen asked, puzzled. Oh, that's you from the parallel world, Lan Chi replied. Right, Dr. Harleen from the parallel world is very brave, truly a heroine. Tai Chi also nodded in praise. Harleen. She was cursing in her heart again. She, a dignified lady, had never done anything vulgar or crazy, and had even become a psychologist because of her kind heart. Yet her parallel world self was such a little lunatic. Was this reasonable? Oh, I forgot to mention, Dr. Harleen from the parallel world and Jack, you're both mental patients, and you were even lovers for a while, Lan Chi added. I must be dreaming. Jack Napier covered his face. Although he had spent a long time with these two guys, he knew clearly that he wasn't mentally ill, nor could he be in love with Dr. Harleen. That's the parallel world, not our world. Anything is possible in the parallel world, Alfred said. Then, he led the two mental patients along the corridor. Along both sides of the corridor, Luxurious murals were already covered in dust, and even the floor looked worn and dilapidated. Aside from where they lived, the other rooms in Wayne Manor truly looked like a gloomy haunted house. Inside the dining room of Wayne Manor. The two masters have been in the parallel world for so long, they must be starving, right? Starving is fine, Lan Chi often grilled skewers to eat. At the mention of this, Tai Chi somewhat savored the taste of the pork skewers Lan Chi grilled, and killer rat too. Lan Chi, Bruce said to have us clean up the mess in our Gotham, then take a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of money to the other Gotham. Ah. Alfred's hand, holding the soup spoon, paused. Master Bruce, did he really think that? Although he had a faint guess in his heart, he still felt this behavior was a bit too crazy. Perhaps this was a certain ambition cultivated in Arkham Asylum. This child had suffered too much. Not long after being adopted by the Elliot family, the Elliot couple were also killed by people Elliot hired. Afterward, he was even sent to Arkham Asylum. If it weren't for him and Jack, as well as those teachers, constantly guiding Bruce, he would have a hard time imagining what Master Bruce would be like now. Tai Chi, this steak is delicious, try it. Ah. Lan Chi, isn't this a piece of ginger? Oh, I thought it was steak. You guy. Hey, Tai Chi, you've also pioneered something, just like the first person to drink milk. If he hadn't drunk it, how would he have distinguished between cow urine and milk? Lan Chi forked a medium-rare fillet steak and stuffed it into his mouth. The creamy aroma mixed with the meaty flavor of the beef filled his mouth. Shit. Fooled capitalists, eating so well. With the thought of destroying capitalist property, Lan Chi frantically devoured the steak and various meats on the table. Hey, eat slower, I haven't eaten yet. Tai Chi, seeing this, also began to snatch food. A fierce struggle began on the entire dining table. However, boom. A violent sound echoed from the other end of this Gotham, a huge sound that reverberated through the sky, directly reaching the ears of the two mental patients fighting over food. There was a struggle at the mental patient's dining table, and there was also a struggle at the dining table of the city of Gotham. Edward Nygma, dressed in a Gotham Security Force uniform, stood in the distance, observing the scene through binoculars. Several towering security force mechs stood there, and even ferocious fighter jets flew by. However, those thugs were truly despicable, inciting residents of Gotham's old district to resist their security force personnel. Captain, although our firepower is sufficient, the way those thugs fight without fear of death has affected many people. His deputy, full of worry, looked at the gunfight raging ahead. He wondered what Mayor March was thinking. Shouldn't he strike hard against these people who dared to resist the Gotham government and the Gotham security force? Calm down. Besides Barbara, the leader we captured, those thugs also have a powerful leader and those ubiquitous assassins. Captain Edward gazed at the battlefield ahead. The wooden signs held by the thugs were nothing more than pleased to vindicate the good police officer, Gordon. Behind them was Arkham Asylum, which had recently been attacked by the Outsiders organization. With the help of Wayne Industries, Arkham Asylum was quickly rebuilt. Although it looked a bit dilapidated, it was actually already dilapidated. The ruined walls had not been fully repaired, and even the wards and medical facilities were filled with cracks and black ash from burns. Only the asylum's iron bars were brand new, gleaming with a metallic luster. Tai Chi, look, this is how money should be spent wisely. Suddenly, a voice came from behind Edward, making him turn around abruptly. Holy shit. How did you two mental patients get out? He widened his eyes, looking at the two mental patients in front of him. One was a bit taller, with a neurotic smile on his face, the other was shorter, with brownish yellow hair, but his head was a bit pointy. Huh. We were already outside. We just came here to help the doctor get some equipment, Lan Chi replied. Equipment. Help which psychiatrist get equipment? Why take the equipment out? Edward was full of questions, unable to understand why these two mental patients would do this. But then again, they are mental patients, so anything can happen. Look, there's also a somewhat chubby old guy, also wearing an orange-yellow Arkham Asylum patient gown, walking over, holding a wad of shit in his hand. Hey, buddy, wanna try this out? It's much more satisfying than those silicone toys you buy. Edward's eyelids twitched, suppressing the urge to vomit. Holy shit. Are all mental patients like this? He probably doesn't want it. You should go back and play by yourself, buddy, Lan Chi said, already standing far away. Even Tai Chi had to admire this fellow patient's hobbies, it was even more bizarre than his own. Gross, it was too fool gross. Didn't he see how horrified the fully armed Gotham security force personnel looked at that old guy just now? They were terrified of getting even a speck of that stuff on them. Truly, with shit on hand, he was like a god of war incarnate. You know him? Edward asked Lan Chi, suppressing his nausea. We used to be fellow patients, but recently we've gotten a bit better, so Dr. Harleen took us out for treatment, Lan Chi replied. Oh. Dr. Harleen. Edward remembered this female doctor. He recalled she was Director Hugo's female assistant, but after the outsiders attacked Arkham Asylum last time, she disappeared. They had originally thought Dr. Harleen was abducted by the outsiders, but it turned out she was abducted by these two mental patients. Hands up. Tell me honestly where you tied up Dr. Harleen. Edward immediately pulled out a pistol and aimed it at Lan Chi and Tai Chi, his eyes extremely sharp. Lan Chi. Sometimes he really struggled to understand the thinking of normal people. Didn't you ask me why I knew this old guy? I answered honestly, so why are you pointing a gun at us now? He couldn't understand, he really couldn't understand what normal people were thinking. Even Tai Chi next to him looked bewildered at Edward, who had suddenly pulled out a gun. Holy shit. Buddy, we just made that old guy leave, and now you're pointing a gun at us. Isn't that a bit messed up? Facing Tai Chi's questioning, Edward just chuckled lightly. You mental patients certainly can't understand our normal way of thinking. Tell me, where is Dr. Harleen? Otherwise, once I lock you two in a cell, I'll make you solve 100 riddles in a row. No food until you answer. Then I'll give you a riddle, can you answer it? Lan Chi retorted. Why would I answer your riddle? Edward looked at Lan Chi as if he were an idiot. Shit. I'm being treated like an idiot. So angry. Lan Chi silently looked at Edward, while Tai Chi next to him was brewing something. Now, can you tell me where Dr. Harleen is? Even if you're a mental patient, kidnapping a psychiatrist, I can still enforce the law and apprehend you. Edward's voice was somewhat sinister, and combined with the riddle he had just spoken, a guess suddenly surfaced in Lan Chi's mind. Shit. This guy wouldn't be the Riddler, would he? But from what I remember, isn't the Riddler a supervillain? How could he be in this Gotham? Well, this Gotham has some bugs. Even Bruce has been locked up in Arkham Asylum for over a decade, and the ventriloquist can be a member of the security force. It's not surprising for the Riddler to have such an identity. What should we do? Tai Chi, don't you know how to hypnotize? Quickly. Before Lan Chi could finish speaking, Edward put down his pistol, and the pupils of his eyes dilated. Shit. He really got hypnotized. Lan Chi looked at Edward's change with some surprise, asking incredulously, Tai Chi, how did you hypnotize him? Just like this, then like that, and finally like that, and it's done. Watching Tai Chi gesture wildly in front of him, Lan Chi felt his head spinning a bit. What is all this? Can a mental patient like me understand it? Forget it, let's hurry inside and find the transcranial magnetic stimulation and transcranial direct current stimulation devices that Dr. Harleen needs. One for your treatment, one for mine. We absolutely mustn't mix them up. With that, the two turned and ran towards Arkham Asylum, while Edward spun in circles on the spot. As soon as they entered the newly rebuilt Arkham Asylum, a strange smell assaulted their nostrils. Lan Chi frowned, and just as he was about to speak, he saw a scene that shattered his worldview. Even Tai Chi next to him widened his eyes, staring intently ahead. My goodness, how can a man be so gutsy? In front of the two, the bald Arnold's clothes had been burned to ashes. He had one hand up and one hand down, holding an iron gun in his left hand and a shit gun in his right. The guns combined, with an unknown buff damage, as he drew his gun and fired at the thugs in front. Holy crap. How does this guy manage to insult his enemies while fighting them? Lan Chi's small head was filled with immense confusion. He felt that this might not be Arkham Asylum, but rather Florida, USA. Everyone is a talent, everyone has a ruthless move. Not only that, he also saw that the hand Arnold was holding the pistol with was actually the one holding the Tiga doll. Is Ultraman also here to help him shoot? Is Arnold usually this brave in the security force? Whose subordinate is this? Lan Chi, let's quickly find the instruments Dr. Harleen wants, otherwise we won't have a chance later. Tai Chi crouched, dodging the wild bullets, and ran to the door of a treatment room, signaling Lan Chi to follow. Two mental patients, taking advantage of the chaotic battle between the thugs and the security forces, began to search frantically inside the treatment room. The treatment room was not much larger than a cell, still dim and cramped, with a pristine white bed in the middle and a photo of former director Krillane hanging on the wall. Various scattered medical instruments were also haphazardly placed nearby. The two mental patients quickly found the transcranial magnetic stimulation device and transcranial direct current stimulation device that Dr. Harleen had asked them to find. It's just. This thing seems a bit too heavy. Can we move it back with just the two of us? If it were just the transcranial direct current stimulation device, any child could take it, as it only weighs a few kilograms and is very portable. But the deep transcranial magnetic stimulation device, including the instrument and coil, weighs several hundred kilograms. Even if they were mental patients and a bit stronger than normal people, how could they possibly lift something weighing several hundred kilograms? Lan Chi was instantly dumbfounded, hugging the heavy instrument with both hands, his muscles trembling, his face flushed. He used all his might, even his nursing strength, but couldn't budge the thing at all. Shit. How do we take this back? He said, somewhat discouraged. Hey. Tai Chi stood by, a flash of inspiration hitting him. I have a way, wait for me for a moment. With that, he left the treatment room and ran outside. Lan Chi could vaguely hear things like, you idiots, marksmanship is like shooting at nothing, and, if you don't like it, come fight me, you son of a fool. In short, it was as unpleasant as could be, and he even heard the gunshots outside becoming more frequent, occasionally mixed with some curses. He guessed they were greeting Tai Chi's 18th generation ancestors and unborn children. But after a while, the dense gunshots subsided, and then Tai Chi returned with 4 dazed thugs. Quick, move this instrument. At his command, the thugs obediently lifted the deep transcranial magnetic stimulation device, weighing several hundred kilograms. Tai Chi, you hypnotized these guys. Lan Chi leaned in and whispered. Of course, otherwise, how could we two alone move this instrument? Tai Chi said, raising an eyebrow. And these guys' gunfight will soon spread over here. I saw a guy as strong as an ox standing behind those thugs from afar. A hint of shock appeared in Tai Chi's eyes, as if he had seen something incredible, even to a mental patient, when he went out just now. You don't know how tall and strong that guy was. I felt like he was a human tank, Tai Chi exclaimed beside him. Hearing his description, a figure suddenly appeared in Lan Chi's mind. Shit. It can't be that guy, can it? Who? Tai Chi asked curiously. A guy who can hang Bruce and you and me up and beat us, Lan Chi replied. Tai Chi opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but said nothing. When did such a powerful guy come to Gotham? And he could hang Bruce and them up and beat them. As the two spoke, the thugs hypnotized by Tai Chi also lifted the instrument. The group carefully sneaked out, fearing being discovered by the security forces or the thugs. If nothing unexpected happens, then an unexpected event is about to occur. There were several passages leading out of Arkham Asylum, but the most commonly used was the main entrance, which was blocked by the thugs. The Gotham security forces and that group of outsiders thugs were passionately shooting at each other. If these two poor mental patients, along with the hypnotized thugs and the instrument, dared to go there, they would surely be riddled with holes. To get out with the instrument, they needed to find another way. So, the sewers. Tai Chi looked at Lan Chi with a puzzled expression. Is this really the best way? One must know that these instruments cannot get wet. Once they get wet, these millions of dollars would be scrapped. Of course, they didn't care about the money, as it wasn't theirs after all. It was just that these instruments were for treating their mental illness. If they broke, how would Dr. Harleen treat them then? Of course, the sewers are interconnected, and we can definitely get back safely through them. Lan Chi couldn't help but give his idea a thumbs up. He was truly a genius. In the current struggle between the Gotham security forces and the outsiders thugs, he could still think of such a safe path. However, when they entered the sewers, they realized that the genius was not Lan Chi, but the mental illness itself. Inside the dark and cramped sewers, several mental patients in Arkham Asylum's orange-yellow patient uniforms were catching rats or cockroaches, putting them in their mouths, and meticulously gnawing on them. Crunchy, chicken-flavored. A mental patient with a scar on his face looked blissful, but two antennae protruding from his mouth made it a bit disgusting. Another bald mental patient caught a foul-smelling rat and immediately opened his mouth to bite into it. The rat struggled desperately but was still bitten in the head, and scarlet blood splattered. Protein is twice that of beef. Director Krillane was right, the sewers are indeed a good place. Lan Chi and Tai Chi exchanged glances, feeling like rookies compared to these mental patients. Tai Chi, I feel like I've become a bit more normal. I feel that way too. Tai Chi nodded blankly. Let's go quickly. The sooner we bring the instrument back, the sooner Dr. Harleen can treat us. The two mental patients, with 4 hypnotized thugs, walked forward. However, we don't seem to know the way, Lan Chi, Tai Chi asked, scratching his somewhat pointed head. Lan Chi also noticed this problem. Although the sewers were safe and sparsely populated, they were pitch black, making it impossible to distinguish directions. Even if they got out, how could they confirm they had reached Wayne Manor? If they took the wrong path and ended up at the Gotham Security Force headquarters or the thugs' base, it would truly be a feast for them. I got it. Lan Chi had a sudden inspiration and immediately said to Tai Chi, Tai Chi, quickly take off your pants. Tai Chi's face was full of question marks, and he slowly backed away, covering his private parts with both hands. What are you going to do now? To borrow your pants to help us find a sewer guide, so we don't get lost, Lan Chi explained. Who is this guide? Tai Chi asked, half believing, half doubting. Would that kind guide live in the sewers? And be a sewer guide? Killer Croc. Killer Croc picked up a mouse and carefully put it into his mouth, chewing it thoroughly. The mouse was instantly crushed, its white bones mixed with blood, gnawed by his sharp fangs and swallowed. Grr. A hungry sound came from his stomach. I'm hungry again. Unlike the fierce Killer Croc of a parallel world, this Gotham City's Killer Croc had a completely different personality. Having been abused by his aunt and the circus ringmaster since childhood, he became somewhat timid as he grew up. He lay on the ground, the cold sewage flowing over his skin, making him feel his hunger slowly dissipating. However, a strange smell of blood drilled into his nose, and there were even some faint voices coming from not far away. Someone. Killer Croc's pupils suddenly contracted, and even his body, which had just laid down, stood up alertly. What's going on? This is the sewer, how could there still be people? Could it be those lunatics from Arkham Asylum? Didn't I give that territory to those guys? Why are people still coming my way? What to do, what to do? The fierce-looking alligator was full of worry, somewhat troubled by the intruders in the sewer system. His tragic childhood experiences did not make him brutal, but rather made him more timid and more silent. He spent his days holed up in the sewer, almost never going out, like a shut-in. But in reality, Killer Croc was just afraid of interacting and talking with people. Never mind, I'll go see first, those people aren't very scary. He cheered himself on. Right, there's nothing to be afraid of, take a deep breath Waylon Jones, relax. It's just strangers, it's no big deal, they all have 1 head, 2 arms, and 2 legs. Just thinking about the appearance of strangers, the timid alligator hugged his head and huddled in the trash heap. Woo woo woo. So scary. Why do these strangers have to come to his sewer, woo woo woo. It's unclear if the alligator's whimpering, timid sounds attracted the strangers. Anyway. When Lan Chi held a blood-stained Arkham Asylum patient's pants in one hand and shined a flashlight forward with the other, he saw the big alligator huddled in the corner, shedding small pearls. Is this guy the Killer Croc you mentioned? Tai Chi was wearing the pants of a nearby thug, and he looked at the alligator huddled in the corner with a face full of surprise, his expression seemingly asking Lan Chi, can this guy really help us navigate? Even Lan Chi was a bit stunned when he saw this Gotham City's Killer Croc. Holy crab. Buddy, are you really the fierce Killer Croc? Why do you look like a wimp? What do you want to do? Killer Croc said with a trembling voice, looking like a little wife who had been bullied. He was timid, trembling. Are you Killer Croc, Waylon Jones? Lan Chi stepped forward and asked. I am Waylon Jones, not Killer Croc, Killer Croc said in a low voice. He was going to die. He was going to die. Talking to strangers almost made him forget how to breathe. Phew. Deep breath. Deep breath. Dizziness is normal, Waylon. Lan Chi watched the alligator's face gradually turn from green to red, feeling a bit confused. Are you a little nervous, Killer Croc? No, I'm not nervous, Killer Croc replied nervously. Lan Chi. Tai Chi. And he's not nervous. He's shaking like crazy. Anyone who didn't know would think he had Parkinson's. Killer Croc quickly glanced at Lan Chi and Tai Chi, then quickly shifted his gaze, staring intently at his toes. So scary, such scary strangers, they won't occupy my sleeping place, then steal my mice and cockroaches, and make me starve every day, right? It's fine, from now on you're Killer Croc. We need to leave here. Do you know the direction to Wayne Manor? Lan Chi asked. Huh. Just leaving. Killer Croc was instantly stunned. Why you're not here to occupy my sewer? He asked in a low, probing voice. Although we're mentally ill, we're not so perverted as to live in a sewer, eating cockroaches and mice, Lan Chi explained. Tai Chi nodded. You can keep those things, we just want to go back to Wayne Manor. We're not asking you to guide us for free, there's a reward. Lan Chi continued. Steak, lamb chops, or other delicacies are all available. There's good food. Killer Croc immediately looked up, his eyes even shining with light. Although he was very afraid of strangers, as long as there was good food, strangers were strangers. He couldn't care less. Since things had come to this, he should first take care of his food problem. Of course. Lan Chi smiled faintly, noncommittally. Okay. As long as there was food, the alligator was instantly full of energy. He was familiar with the entire Gotham City sewer system. In just over 10 minutes, he led Lan Chi and Tai Chi to the vicinity of Wayne Manor's sewer pipe access. Climb up here and you'll see Wayne Manor. Killer Croc pointed to the manhole cover where the ladder led, indicating that going up here would lead to Wayne Manor. You go up first and check the situation, we'll still need to pay you later, Lan Chi said. Oh. Killer Croc didn't think much of it and grunted as he climbed up. Soon he climbed out of the manhole onto the road outside Wayne Manor. The surroundings were silent, with only the rustling drizzle falling continuously. There's no one up there, nothing at all, you guys hurry up and come up. Lan Chi nodded, and was about to climb up, but Tai Chi tugged at his sleeve. Lan Chi, it's raining outside, what about these two instruments? Oh right, what if the instruments get wet and break? Lan Chi frowned, thinking about how to safely bring the instruments back to Wayne Manor. Shit. Lan Chi, quickly use your wisdom, have a mental breakdown already. How exactly should he safely bring the instruments back? However, just as he was deep in thought, Tai Chi and the others had already appeared outside. Lan Chi's face was full of question marks. He quickly climbed the ladder out of the sewer and came to the entrance of Wayne Manor, in front of Tai Chi. Tai Chi, aren't you afraid the instruments will get wet? Tai Chi was having the 4 hypnotized thugs carry the instruments inside. Hearing Lan Chi's words, he immediately turned around. Oh. I suddenly realized that the instrument for my treatment is this one. He held up the transcranial direct current stimulation device he was carrying on his arm. Because it was wrapped in a waterproof cloth, the rain couldn't penetrate it at all. The larger instrument is for your treatment, so it's fine if it gets wet, for me. Lan Chi. Are you that much of a jerk to a fellow patient, Tai Chi? Don't worry, Lan Chi, your illness will definitely be cured, Tai Chi comforted him. After all, although we're both mentally ill, your mental illness is different from everyone else's, so I feel that this instrument will probably not cure your illness. Lan Chi silently looked at him. Shit. It's my good fortune to have you, Tai Chi. Delicious, truly delicious. Killer Croc clumsily grabbed the steak and roast meat from the table, stuffing it into his mouth. Despite his stomach being full and bloated, he still couldn't stop eating. Compared to the rats and cockroaches he had eaten in the sewers for the past few years, these things in front of him were what humans should eat. Phew. After swallowing the food in his mouth, he took a big gulp of vodka. The liquor gurgled, carrying the food into his stomach, filling the last bit of emptiness. The large crocodile slumped in the chair, his hands on his round belly, slowly exhaling a satisfied breath. Refreshing. Are you full, Waylon Master? If not, I can make you more. Alfred, dressed in a suit and looking like an English gentleman, stood by, smiling at Waylon Jones. Thanks, I'm full, really full. The food you made is so delicious. Killer Croc scratched his head, a bit embarrassed. Haha, Master Bruce used to say the same thing, Alfred chuckled. Although this world's Bruce Wayne had been confined in Arkham Asylum for over a decade, during that time, Alfred would visit him every month. Because he was confined in the asylum, Bruce couldn't eat any palatable meals. All he had was hard, long black bread to sustain basic survival, or glucose supplements to maintain basic life activities. And when Alfred visited Bruce Wayne, he would also bring a large amount of food so that Master Bruce could get proper nutrition. Unlike Waylon Jones eating in the dining room, Lan Chi and Tai Chi were in another room, preparing to receive treatment from Dr. Harleen. However, Harley, why are you here? Lan Chi looked a bit bewildered at Harley Quinn, who held a baseball bat, had twin pigtails, and had snow-white skin. Shit. Shouldn't this guy be with Silent Bat, taking care of that Gotham in the parallel world? Why would she appear here? Harley chewed gum, looking like a punk. Oh, I'm here for rescue. Your Bruce seems to be in danger. She pointed at Harleen Quinzel, who was wearing a white coat and dressed conservatively, and asked. Is she your Dr. Harleen? My parallel self. She looked at Dr. Harleen with a strange expression, seemingly not expecting her parallel self to look like this. And Dr. Harleen also frowned, staring at Harley Quinn. She still couldn't believe that this was her parallel self. The ultra-short shorts that revealed her fair, full thighs, the red and blue eyeshadow and exaggerated makeup on her face, and the red and blue short shirt on her body. This was her parallel self. How could this be her parallel self? Just thinking about it made Dr. Harleen feel a bit of a headache. Although she didn't have that thing, it didn't matter. It just hurt. What happened to Bruce? It's only been a few days, hasn't it? Did Batman and Joker team up? Lan Chi was a bit confused. Silent Bat was also an old schemer. Even if Joker and Batman teamed up, they might not be able to take him down, right? Not Mr. J, Harley Quinn explained. Not him. Is there some other guy who's hanging Bruce up and whipping him? Tai Chi recalled the guy Lan Chi had mentioned. If such a terrifying guy appeared in their Gotham, perhaps he could also appear in the parallel world's Gotham. Not that either. Harley Quinn shook her head and explained, a few mercenaries came out of nowhere and targeted your Bruce, and then they got into an intense fight. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go, take all the weapons, and rescue Master Bruce. Alfred, who had been standing by the door for a while, walked in. The smile on his face instantly vanished, replaced by a gloomy and solemn expression. Exactly. Beside him, a pale Jack also walked in. Who told me I was his subordinate? My boss is in danger now, so I, his subordinate, must act immediately. You need to guard the door for our return, Alfred reminded him. God fool it. Jack's face was filled with frustration. What about us too? Tai Chi touched his somewhat pointed head. Although he knew Bruce would definitely be able to brutally take down those mercenaries. But that was in the parallel world, where there was only Silent Bat and Killer Rat, and they didn't even have proper equipment. A fellow patient is in trouble, so we naturally can't just sit idly by, Lan Chi immediately said. Mental illness can be treated anytime, but if a fellow patient dies, then they're truly dead. He had a rather good impression of Bruce, this outwardly reserved but inwardly passionate guy. After all, ever since he transmigrated to Arkham Asylum, Lan Chi had been listening to his thoughts every night. His current residence was even this patient's home, just one step away from his goal of living in Wayne's grand villa and getting a beautiful girl. So Silent Bat still needed to be saved. And most importantly, if Dr. Harleen can't cure our illness, then we'll have to spend a lot of money to find other doctors and buy medicine. Tai Chi, we're both poor. Lan Chi's words immediately made Tai Chi understand. They still had to save Bruce, this fooled capitalist. Oh, shit. We're just poor, helpless mental patients. If not for the white bandages on his body and the tattered black cape behind him, Silent Bat would be almost identical to Batman. And now, he seemed to be under attack and sniper fire from certain individuals. Phew. He was breathing heavily, a stinging sensation constantly coming from his side. He rolled lightly to the side, dodging the bullets. Bang! A bullet suddenly struck the ground beside him, its immense kinetic energy directly creating a bullet crater in the concrete. He saw it, clearly saw the figure on the rooftop. The head enveloped by a skull-like metal mask, the body wrapped in a dark gray bodysuit. And that massive, menacing sniper rifle, glinting with cold light. Almost the instant he saw the opponent, Silent Bat felt a prickling sensation on his scalp, and a chill surged in his heart. He quickly rolled to the side and used his grappling gun to approach the opponent. Bullets constantly struck around his body, creating holes or craters. Shit. Why can't I hit him? Is it just because he's Batman? Deathstroke cursed from a distance. Through the scope, he could clearly see his bullets being continuously dodged by Silent Bat. This made Deathstroke feel somewhat incredible. As a qualified mercenary, he had absolute confidence in his marksmanship, even extremely fast objects, he could hit with a single shot. But this marksmanship seemed to fail in front of Silent Bat. Dodging one bullet could be attributed to luck, or perhaps Deathstroke wasn't in top form. But for the fooled Batman to dodge 7 or 8 bullets, that was a bit. Holy shit. Is this even scientific anymore? Is it the fooled god playing tricks? Silent Bat leapt, like a large bat, gliding through the air for a moment before rolling onto the rooftop ahead. Calm. Phew, I must be calm. As an experienced, ruthless mercenary, Deathstroke clearly knew what would plunge a mercenary into an bottomless hell. However, the dark figure in the scope was like someone playing a fooled game with cheats, constantly dodging. Deathstroke, who could land headshots and even hit Flash, just couldn't hit Silent Bat. Is he maxing out his evasion stat? He's too agile, like a slippery loach. I can't hit him. You'd best stall him for a bit, he said to the person on the walkie-talkie. On the street, Slipknot and Tattooed Man put their walkie-talkies on their waists and rushed towards the Batman on the rooftop. Don't worry, leave it to us. As everyone knows, metahumans generally possess terrifying power, and some can even be called masters. And Tattooed Man is such a master with superhuman strength. He ripped open his clothes, revealing his muscular physique and grotesque tattoos. A unique aura of a master emanated, reaching its peak from him. He gazed at the constantly darting Batman's shadow in front of him, while the tattoos on his body squirmed like living things, looking somewhat creepy. Slipknot stood beside him, without any weapons in his hand, only a hard rope hanging on him. This rope was his invention, soaked in chemical solutions, giving it the property of being both hard and soft. It was a good item for home travel, robbery, and arson. He. Batman, someone wants to buy your life. Tattooed Man said arrogantly. At the same time, the tattoos on his body seemed to start bubbling, and strange noises kept coming. Gurgle gurgle gurgle. Along with the strange, gurgling, sound, a grotesque beast tattoo on his body began to twist continuously. The tattoo began to animate, rotating, deforming, and even crawling directly off his body. The dark tattoo instantly transformed into a fierce lion with fangs. Even Slipknot next to him was a bit surprised to see this scene. What the hell, this guy is actually a metahuman who can animate tattoos. What if he got a Batman tattoo on his back? The lion brought a fishy wind, its sharp talons flashing with cold light, and it suddenly pounced towards the Silent Bat in front. Silent Bat took out a batarang, miniature bombs, and a grappling gun. The lion lunged at Silent Bat, extending its sharp claws, tearing through the air with a whistling sound, and opening its bloody maw to bite fiercely. Silent Bat dodged to the side, instantly avoiding the lion's pounce. Then he quickly attached a miniature bomb to the lion's body, and with a batarang in hand, he directly flung it at the lion, making a not too big, not too small wound. The lion roared furiously, turning to charge at Silent Bat again, but Silent Bat used his grappling gun, hooking the railing of the building above, and launched himself directly over the lion. With a bang, the lion painfully fell to the ground, unable to get up again. Tattooed Man. Shit. Is the lion that easy to deal with? Why was I almost eaten when I encountered it? Deathstroke originally wanted to take a cold shot while Tattooed Man's lion was fighting Silent Bat, to see if he could hit Silent Bat. But he didn't expect Tattooed Man's lion to not even last one round before being taken down by Silent Bat. The lion is truly useless. He picked up the walkie-talkie and asked, "Are you sure there are new teammates coming?" Otherwise, how can the three of us take down Batman? There are more coming, as long as you can hold him for a few minutes, an old voice came from the other end. Deathstroke looked down and saw Slipknot being kicked hard in the abdomen by Batman, and the hard rope in his hand was whipped across his face. Blood flowed from his mouth, it was truly a sight of misery. Seeing Slipknot's tragic state, Deathstroke shrank his neck, recalling how Silent Bat had dodged his more than a dozen bullets just now. This Batman is a bit too strong, we can't subdue him. I'm not doing this job. Money is a good thing, but compared to life, money is not that important. I'll pay you more, the old voice on the other end said without hesitation. No. Add 100 million US dollars. Deathstroke was silent for a moment. Just as the old man on the other side thought the other party had been taken down, the sound of swallowing saliva and Deathstroke's excited voice came. You should have said so earlier. Generous employer, with so much budget, even if it's the President of the United States, we can get it done for you. Although there is only one life, there is also only one chance to earn 100 million US dollars. Which is more important, there is no need for Deathstroke, this outwardly black but inwardly white professional killer, to say more. Below, Tattooed Man was still brewing, waiting for the tattoos on his body to animate. Only Slipknot was still being continuously slapped in the face by Silent Bat with a big slap. A world where only Slipknot gets hurt has been achieved. Taking advantage of the time Slipknot bought, Tattooed Man finally unleashed his ultimate move. That's right, it's you. Come out, Charmander. A grotesque Charizard suddenly appeared from his body, but perhaps due to the limitations of Tattooed Man's ability, this dragon was a bit too miniature. It looked even smaller than the lion just now. Go. Charmander, take down Batman, and we'll become Gotham's most famous criminals. Tattooed Man said excitedly. In his sight, Charmander went. Charmander suddenly pounced on Silent Bat. Surging flames spewed towards Silent Bat. However, a cold shining batarang pierced through the flames, fiercely embedding itself in Charmander's body. Charmander, dead. When Deathstroke's scalp tingled and he packed his things, ready to run away. A dark figure appeared in front of him, a grotesque Batman cowl, as well as muscular physique and countless white bandages on his body, all indicating his identity. Bat. Deathstroke's face changed, and his scalp tingled. Out of his professional quality and alertness as a mercenary, he immediately drew a pistol from his waist and aimed it at Silent Bat in front of him. I'm not Batman. I'm Silent Bat who replaced Batman. Silent Bat's deep voice entered Deathstroke's ears. Bang! 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 Deathstroke fired 3 shots at Silent Bat, but Silent Bat had already anticipated Deathstroke's movements. His body swayed continuously, dodging Deathstroke's bullets. Deathstroke. Holy shit. Who said that guns are fast beyond 7 meters, and fast and accurate within 7 meters? Step out, I won't beat you to death. Who hired you? I'll pay double the price, Silent Bat said. Killer Rat, who had just rushed over, scratched his head, always feeling that this sentence sounded a bit familiar. You want me to violate my professional ethics? How is that possible? Deathstroke said with disdain. 100 million. Or 1 billion US dollars. Silent Bat said. Hearing this number, Deathstroke's pupils contracted almost imperceptibly. Holy shit. Batman, oh no, is Silent Bat that rich? The employer only offered 100 million US dollars, but the other party actually offered 1 billion. 1 billion. How many years could that let him live lavishly? Changing to a new mansion every year, sleeping with beautiful women without repeating. Should he violate his professional ethics? He was hesitating, Deathstroke was hesitating about the conditions Silent Bat offered. However, don't be wishy-washy, Deathstroke, leave this to me. A deep male voice came, followed by a figure wearing a tiger mask and with bronze-colored muscles appearing behind Silent Bat. Silent Bat turned his head to look behind him and saw a commanding figure standing there. The next second, without the slightest hesitation, Deathstroke and Copperhead simultaneously attacked Silent Bat. Silent Bat instantly pulled out a batarang to block the bullets fired by Deathstroke, and with his other hand, he blocked Copperhead's punch. However, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands, not to mention that Copperhead is the most powerful martial artist in the 600th world. To invite this guy to deal with Silent Bat, Wayne Manor's butler Alfred spent a lot of money. While hiring someone to deal with Silent Bat, he also took people to Arkham Asylum to rescue Batman. He truly lives up to his name as Butler Man. Bang! Accompanied by a dull thud, Silent Bat's body was sent flying, rolling continuously on the rooftop. If he hadn't alertly reached out and grabbed the rooftop, he would have instantly fallen, directly hitting the bustling street below and becoming a puddle of flesh. Excruciating pain shot through his entire body. It was the injury Copperhead had just inflicted on him. Even his calf had been hit by Deathstroke's bullet, and the pungent smell of blood emanated from it, causing Silent Bat to frown involuntarily. Thump, thump, thump. Copperhead and Deathstroke walked to the edge of the rooftop. Deathstroke raised his pistol, aimed it at Silent Bat's head, and a cold smile spread across his lips. He. My professional ethics do not allow me to violate the agreement with my employer, so you should just die, Silent Bat. The dark muzzle was aimed at Silent Bat, as if in the next second he would pull the trigger and kill this guy who resembled Batman. However, holy shit. Tai Chi, you traitor of a fellow patient, if I die, I'll turn into a ghost and make you get OO'd in front of all of Gotham. Lan Chi's cry suddenly reached Silent Bat's ears, making him freeze for a moment. The next second, he saw Deathstroke, who had a sinister smile on his face, being slid off the rooftop by Lan Chi's tackle. Ah, shit. Where did this lunatic come from? The unexpected change made the battle-hardened Deathstroke curse a few times. You fool guys. His cries gradually grew weaker until they finally disappeared, and no thud of a falling body was heard. What a pity. Oh, no, Lan Chi didn't think he was that cruel. Silent Bat raised his head and looked at the several figures that had suddenly appeared on the rooftop, a slight sigh of relief in his heart. Lan Chi and Tai Chi, dressed in orange-yellow Arkham Asylum patient uniforms, Harley Quinn with an anti-tank rocket launcher on her shoulder, and Alfred. Seeing the unfavorable situation, Copperhead immediately retreated a few steps. He stared intently at the group, and after realizing they had no intention of attacking him, he directly disappeared into the night. He had no advantage fighting these guys bare-handed and could only flee in disarray. These guys are dressed like aliens, you'd think they were going to a cosplay convention. Lan Chi complained, then extended his hand towards Silent Bat at the edge of the rooftop. Bruce, look, isn't it still up to us few to step in? You should focus on treating your own mental illness, Lan Chi, Silent Bat said quietly. After he climbed up, he looked at the Wayne Manor's old butler beside him, a hint of doubt on his face. Alfred, why are you here too? Of course I had to come, Master Bruce. Alfred took out medicine and immediately prepared to clean Silent Bat's wound. Although I know you don't want to hear it, I still have to say, Master, this is a parallel world, not our world. Don't forget we still have our own Gotham. Earlier, he had already guessed the reason Silent Bat had come to this parallel world. Although the old butler Alfred did not immediately dissuade Silent Bat, when Harley brought the news back, he instantly activated Silent Bat's fooled cash ability. The fully automatic steel armor and thrusters Lan Chi wore, the brainwave emitter in Tai Chi's hand, and the RPG missiles, Gatling guns, and various other weapons on Harley Quinn were all purchased and equipped by Alfred for them. It could be said that after discovering the Master was in danger, the old butler had basically armed all of them to the teeth. As for Alfred, the former agent, his equipment was relatively much less. A common Desert Eagle, 2 drones loaded with countless ammunition and having 8 muzzles. And a high-performance power armor that covered his entire body. All the equipment looked unremarkable and inconspicuous. I know, Alfred, Silent Bat said, taking a breath. We still have our own Gotham, and a world that belongs to us. He murmured softly, but the strong desire in his heart seemed to be constantly tugging at his nerves. Silent Bat's pupils began to dilate, his gaze gradually unfocused, and a certain hallucination appeared. It seemed to be his deceased parents, and also the beautiful life he once yearned for, becoming brothers with Elliot. Like a harlot, she was preening, enticing him. And this parallel world's Gotham looked so beautiful, without the clashes between his Gotham's old district and security forces. Without the villains who stole other people's families and property in the alleys. Even his counterpart in this parallel world was doing very well and had a little assistant, which made him exceptionally envious. The other party was not like him, without so much heavy past, without bearing too many things. And also without Lan Chi. Lan Chi's voice suddenly rang in his ears. Almost instantly, everything in his eyes disappeared, and the chaotic thoughts in his mind were immediately cleared. Under the effect of Lan Chi, Silent Bat's psychological age and IQ all returned to 8 years old. He turned his head and looked behind him, seeing the minuscule, ant-like traffic below. Woo, it's so high here. He instantly slumped to the ground, crawling continuously towards a safe spot ahead. Master, it's okay, everything's okay. Looking at Silent Bat, who had instantly become like a child, Alfred gripped his hand, trying to comfort him. See, I told you, this guy's mental illness is getting worse and worse, Lan Chi said to Alfred. This guy still doesn't believe he has mental illness and psychological problems. He needs treatment soon, otherwise another one will go crazy later. Yes, I already saw that Bruce had psychological problems, Tai Chi said, nodding beside him. But, how should we treat Master Bruce? Alfred suddenly found himself in a dilemma. The only thought of this old, white-haired man was the Master Bruce in front of him. Although Master Bruce, timidly holding his hand, with a face full of fear, looked much better than before. But he knew that Lan Chi's ability could only last for one day. After tomorrow, Master Bruce would revert to his previous state, and what would they do then? Should they find Dr. Harleen to treat Master Bruce? This was a method, but Master Bruce had sought doctors for mental illness many times when he was in Arkham Asylum. But his condition still hadn't improved. Looking at Master Bruce with an 8-year-old IQ and a pure smile, Alfred suddenly felt a bit lost. How exactly should Master Bruce be treated? Could it be that Lan Chi should use his Lan Chi ability on Master Bruce every day? Hey, that actually seems like a method. However, before Alfred could even suggest it, the two lunatics had already thought of other treatment plans. Don't worry, the people who understand mental illness best are definitely as mental patients, Lan Chi patted his chest, full of confidence. With us on the job, we guarantee Bruce will be cured of his illness, Tai Chi also said with a serious expression. Although they had no experience treating mental patients and didn't understand anything about psychology. But as mental patients, could they not handle a small mental illness? Are mental patients who can't handle mental illness still normal mental patients? Then how are you going to help him? And another question, what about my plan to blow up Gotham and become the Queen of Gotham? Harley asked from the side. She was only temporarily cooperating with these parallel world people because they could help her kill Old Bat, blow up Gotham, and then become the Queen of Gotham. But now these lunatics were acting up again and even wanted to get treatment, so what about her? Oh right, there's also you. Hearing Harley Quinn's words, Lan Chi suddenly came back to his senses. You should get treatment too. Harley Quinn pointed at herself, somewhat confused. Me. No, she, Harley Quinn, was perfectly fine, why should she be treated? How do we cure Bruce? Alfred interrupted the ramblings of several mental patients. He wasn't interested in this parallel Gotham, he just wanted Master Bruce to be well. Lan Chi, he wants to replace Batman, right? Let him be Batman for a while, and he'll give up when he realizes how hard it is. Tai Chi, what if he gets more and more addicted to it? Lan Chi, that's easy. We'll just give him a strong dose. Then we'll let him go back to our Gotham to be a vigilante. Oh, I forgot, that guy doesn't have a no-kill rule. Alfred glanced at Silent Bat beside him, then at the two mental patients discussing giving Bruce a strong dose. Lan Chi, what kind of strong dose are you talking about? He swallowed, unable to help but ask. Although he wasn't crazy, he felt that the strong dose mentioned by these two lunatics wasn't anything good. Don't worry, it's a strong dose that's guaranteed to cure Bruce. Dark clouds covered the sky, and silvery white lightning surged and churned within them. The night was inky, and a light, damp rain caressed Gotham, bringing with it traces of cold and dampness. Rumble. Accompanied by a muffled thunderclap, the bright bat signal suddenly shone into the sky. Above the clouds, a bat symbol instantly appeared. On the rooftop, the corner light flickered, and Jim Gordon, with a cigar in his mouth, tried to perk up. His face was a bit grim, full of exhaustion, yet he had to force himself to be alert. He was like a young girl forced to work, tired and helpless. Can the police trace the funding source behind those dangerous mercenaries? A man's low voice suddenly came from behind him. Gordon turned his head to look and saw a blurry black figure standing in the shadows. In the darkness, one could vaguely make out the pointed bat cowl on both sides and the outline of a sturdy body. Of course, most importantly, there were those cold, calm eyes with a hint of madness deep within them. It was Batman, no doubt about it. Gordon sighed, slowly exhaling a white, semicircular smoke ring. If the police could completely investigate all of this, there wouldn't be so many criminals in Gotham. Silent Bat remained silent, saying nothing. In reality, he had already guessed who was behind those mercenaries. Perhaps it was this world's Batman's butler, or perhaps that guy named Robin. Gordon seemed to recall something and suddenly said, "Oh right, there have been a few strange cases recently on Claude Street in Otisburg." As he spoke, he pulled out a case file and handed it to the shadow in the darkness. "These cases are very strange." Gordon's voice was low and hoarse, like sandpaper rubbing against rusty iron. 3 victims, completely unrelated to each other, died within a week of each other, yet not even the slightest fingerprint or hair could be found at the scene. The forensic doctor said they had no external injuries, and the cause of death was sudden cardiac arrest, but the expressions of extreme terror on their faces didn't look like natural death at all. He took a deep drag on his cigar, rubbed his tired forehead, and continued. The first victim was a night shift security guard, who died in a semi-abandoned factory. Surveillance showed him screaming frantically at an empty corridor before he died. The second was an elderly person living alone. Neighbors said they heard him shouting, "Don't come near," inside his house, but when they broke in, the old man had already passed away, with only a terrified expression still on his face. The third, Gordon's Adam's apple bobbed, was an orphan, curled up in an alley, his face contorted with terror, his eyes wide open as if he wanted to pop them out of his sockets, clutching a few freshly bought Italian noodles in his arms. Rumble. Suddenly, a clap of thunder sounded, and raindrops pelted down on the 3 people on the rooftop. Those victims were like they were targeted by some evil spirit or demon, without warning, nowhere to escape. I suspect this case is related to Joker, who recently escaped from Arkham Asylum. Gordon snuffed out the cigar in his hand and turned his head to the side. Perhaps Joker is experimenting with his laughing gas virus again, so I'll leave this case too. His voice trailed off, and the figure in the shadows had also disappeared at some point. Gordon took a deep drag on his cigar, exhaling a long, white smoke ring. It was Batman, no doubt about it. This guy was always like this. Raindrops splattered against the glass, distorting the figures of the few people in the room. This was a house Alfred had bought, very close to Crime Alley. Of course, the most important thing was its proximity to the door that led back. Although that door was created using Lanchi's portal gun, it seemed unable to change its location. It could only travel between fixed points. After settling Silent Bat and accepting Lanchi's treatment plan for Silent Bat, Alfred returned. After all, that world was their world, and this Gotham was merely a parallel world. If it weren't for Silent Bat, Lanchi and Tai Chi, among others, would have already returned to receive Dr. Harleen's treatment. Although both that Gotham and this Gotham differed somewhat from the Gotham in Lanchi's memory, they were still Gotham. Why care if it had gotten worse? Can you expect a black piece of paper to become whiter? It looks a bit like Joker's laughing gas virus. Lanchi held the case file Silent Bat had just gotten from Gordon. On it were several photos of the victims with distorted, terrified expressions, as if they had encountered something extremely horrifying. But we've seen the corpses caused by Joker using the laughing gas virus before, Silent Bat said in a deep voice. People killed by the laughing gas virus don't look like this, Harley agreed. Tai Chi, holding the container he had previously taken from Scarecrow, offered a suggestion. Why don't you go to the crime scenes and take a look? All right, Silent Bat said, then prepared to leave. Will this method really work? Tai Chi asked Lanchi in a low voice. He felt a bit uneasy about Lanchi's crude treatment plan. After all, this treatment plan, this strong dose, was really. Don't worry, it's guaranteed. This guy will never want to be Batman again. Lan Chi gave him a look that said, "You can trust me to handle this," but Tai Chi didn't have much confidence in it. After being a mental patient for so many years, he had never heard of such a method for treating mental illness. And just hearing about it felt a tiny bit explosive. He truly didn't know how Alfred had been convinced by Lan Chi. "Let's go, we need to hurry to Claude Street where the incidents occurred, otherwise, if we're too late, it'll be hard to treat." Lan Chi stood up, putting on the fully automatic steel armor Alfred had purchased at great expense. Although this thing had far fewer functions than the Batman armor, at least it could protect him from getting several holes when shot, and he wouldn't be XXED by some perverted older brother targeting his wounds. "What about me?" Harley asked. Her nature was already wild and erratic, and now seeing Lan Chi and Tai Chi about to cause trouble, it was as if a cat was scratching inside her heart. You go see if Robin and this world's Alfred have gone to Arkham Asylum to rescue Batman," Lan Chi instructed. "Oh right, there's also someone else, Nightwing Dick Grayson. I almost forgot about that guy." If he remembered correctly, Dick should have already gone solo by now. After all, Jason was almost about to retire from the Robin position. If this guy interfered, perhaps Silent Bat wouldn't even be cured before Batman was rescued. "Help us see if these guys have rescued Batman, so they don't interfere with our plan." With that, the two mental patients heartlessly left. "Always making me do unimportant things. Fool Joker, fool you too. Harley raised a middle finger at their retreating figures in the night, showing her defiance. One day, eventually, she, Harley Quinn, would become the Queen of Gotham by herself, making everyone kneel and lick her *3. Gotham at night was dangerous and oppressive, besides the patter of rain falling on the ground. Silent Bat could faintly hear a hint of sobbing. These sounds were intertwined with the rain, mixed with crisp bone-cracking sounds, the dull thud of fists hitting flesh, and gunshots, forming a delightful symphony. It was like a young woman in pink, translucent lace lingerie, caressing and kneading your with a unique Gotham charm. Soon, several mental patients arrived in the Otisburg district and found the street where cases frequently occurred. However, Silent Bat slipped, almost falling onto the cement road filled with sour-smelling rainwater. What was going on? He staggered to his feet, staring intently at the ground he had just walked on, his mind full of questions. He had been taught by various masters at Arkham Asylum, such a situation would not easily occur. Unless some mysterious force was affecting him. "What's wrong?" Feeling a bit out of sorts. Lan Chi's voice came from behind him. "Nothing." Silent Bat shook his head. "It's all right, all men experience this. Weakness isn't a flaw, but being weak and still acting tough, that's your flaw," Lan Chi admonished seriously. Silent Bat. He wasn't a playboy, he'd been locked in Arkham Asylum for over 10 years without touching a woman. How could he be weak? "If you ask me, if you really can't do this job, let's just go back to our own world. Isn't that Gotham good? Why be so attached to someone else's Gotham?" Tai Chi followed up, echoing him. Silent Bat said nothing, only shaking his head. He couldn't describe the feeling. It might be jealousy or envy, but in any case, he wanted to be the Batman of this world. Even if only for a single day. "Don't think so much. The Batman of this world has Alfred, and you also have Alfred." Lan Chi activated the protective mode of his fully automatic steel armor to avoid getting wet from the rain, which could worsen his mental illness if he caught a cold or fever. "Although you are indeed missing something compared to him, the original Gotham also needs you." Silence, still silence. Dead silence, answered Lan Chi and Tai Chi, also indicating Silent Bat's determination. Seeing that persuasion was useless, the two mental patients said nothing more. The three quickly arrived at Claude Street. "According to the information in the case files, we should first go to the crime scene to take a look." Silent Bat immediately decided to go to the abandoned factory, the first crime scene, to look for clues. Lan Chi, meanwhile, had Tai Chi safeguard the Scarecrow's fear gas container, to prevent any major mishaps. The semi-abandoned factory was soon visited by the three mental patients. The factory continued to operate at night. Although a murder had occurred in the guard room, there were still people on duty inside. It was just that there was one extra person inside, and both of them had a hint of vigilance and 3 parts fear on their faces. "Shit. Hypnotizing these guys won't get us anything, and there's not a single clue at the scene. Tai Chi walked out of the guard room, a bit dejected. Don't worry, maybe the next location will give us a surprise. Lan Chi stood beside him, comforting him. Silent Bat, meanwhile, was pondering the information he had just obtained. Although useless, at least he could deduce. The group soon walked onto the road in front of the second victim's wooden house. The entire street was empty, with a taxi parked by the roadside. It was a classic American taxi with yellow markings, but it looked a bit dilapidated and weathered. Shit. Why does it smell so bad? Tai Chi covered his nose, his brows tightly furrowed, as if he had smelled something extremely foul. The smell was somewhat like rotten eggs and decaying meat mixed together, diffusing into the surrounding air. Tai Chi, do you want to see what's under your foot? Lan Chi said quietly. Tai Chi looked down, his expression instantly changing slightly. Human fragments. He quickly kicked the rotten severed hand on the ground away. Why is there a rotten severed hand here? What are the police doing? Maybe it's a passerby from nearby, Lan Chi thought for a moment and said. After all, this place was so unpredictable as to which villain might have caused this. Killer Croc was ruled out first, because he had already been transformed into Killer Rat by Lan Chi. Let's go, enter that wooden house, and look for clues, Silent Bat said in a deep voice. However, when they got closer, they found a middle-aged man standing outside the wooden house, seemingly on lookout. Seeing their arrival, the man quickly took the cigarette out of his mouth and whispered inside. Shit. Constantine, are you done yet? Someone's here. What? The wooden house was pitch black inside, and a man in a beige trench coat with messy golden hair walked out. Chaz, I told you, never. As soon as he came out, he saw the three mental patients standing outside the door. Oh, are you here for an exorcism too? He looked curiously at these three guys who didn't seem normal. Exorcism. Silent Bat frowned, somewhat puzzled. We're here to investigate a case. It's about that old man who died in this wooden house earlier, right? Constantine observed the three guys. Two guys, one tall and one short, were wearing yellow Arkham Asylum patient uniforms, and there was another guy covered in bandages with a Batman symbol on his chest. This familiar sense of intimacy made Constantine briefly think he had returned to the mental asylum. That's right. Tai Chi nodded, he was a bit puzzled why the usually active Lan Chi hadn't spoken. Lan Chi, looking at the golden-haired man with a smile on his face, inwardly exclaimed, holy shit. Holy crap. God, why is it this famous trickster god? Today must be an unlucky day, for fool's sake. Although Tai Chi and Silent Bat didn't know who Constantine was, Lan Chi did. DC's legendary king of survival, and one of the biggest scammers, John Constantine. Although this guy seemed like a magician, in reality, if he could, he didn't want to use magic. After all, in this world, the power of magic all had origins and masters. Learning magic didn't grant power to people, but rather borrowed it from those sources of power. But unfortunately, those demon gods who controlled magical power were all like capitalists. If you borrowed a little bit of their power, they would covet your destiny and soul. But thankfully, Constantine's most powerful ability wasn't magic, but deception. As the saying goes, if you owe 100,000, the bank constantly urges you to pay it back. If you owe 100 million, you're the bank's boss. But what if you owe two banks 100 million each? That's right, Constantine, through his deception, simultaneously borrowed power from heaven and hell, becoming a debtor to both. But he only had one destiny and one soul. So, in this situation, the legendary king of survival chose to kick the conflict between creditor and debtor to the two creditors. Letting the two creditors fight fiercely, while he himself enjoyed life. Of course, it couldn't really be called enjoyment, as most of his friends were basically screwed over by this guy and died. And that was also the reason why Lan Chi's expression changed at the mention of Constantine. How about investigating with us? Constantine invited. But, Tai Chi was about to nod in agreement when he was interrupted by Silent Bat's voice. We can investigate by ourselves. Due to his experience in Arkham Asylum, he was more vigilant and cautious than ordinary people, so he was full of wariness towards the two men who appeared at the crime scene. Perhaps these two were the culprits of these three cases. My name is Constantine, a private detective. I don't know who you are or what to call you. Even though Silent Bat refused, Constantine didn't hesitate at all. He just stretched out his hand to exchange simple pleasantries with him. That's right, just simple pleasantries. But one was Silent Bat, and the other was Constantine. Both were old schemers, so how could they possibly interact with each other? Perhaps upon contact, they would be controlled by the other party. Silent Bat was like this, and so was Constantine. From Lan Chi's perspective, this was the first confrontation between two old schemers, but Silent Bat simply ignored Constantine. Just then, a dull thud of a wooden door hitting the ground came from inside the wooden house. Constantine's expression changed slightly, and he immediately pulled Chaz to dodge. A sharp, hissing scream entered everyone's ears the next second. Hee hee hee, delicious humans, I'm here. Accompanied by eerie and chilling laughter, a dark figure with a ferocious face suddenly crashed towards Lan Chi. Shit. Why is it chasing me? Lan Chi's face immediately changed, and he quickly pushed Tai Chi in front of him. Lan Chi. I fool your mother, you sour radish fool, you're the kind of person who specifically screws over fellow patients. However, the strange black mist figure seemed to have set its sights on Lan Chi. After an emergency stop, it turned a corner and continued to chase the poor and helpless psychiatric patient. Tai Chi felt himself all over, and it seemed like nothing had happened. I'm fine. He breathed a sigh of relief. I'm in trouble. Lan Chi shouted as he ran. The black mist behind him, like a soul-reaping evil spirit, rushed at him fiercely with a cold aura. Don't run. Don't run around. Stop first, I have a way to deal with him. Constantine chased after Lan Chi. I don't believe a word you say. You British guy, you old man, you're very bad. Lan Chi didn't believe Constantine's words at all. There was no way, this guy had tricked too many people. The only one who had survived by his side was probably Chaz, the middle-aged man who was smoking just now. Trust me, I'm a professional. Constantine said, pulling out tools specifically used to ward off evil spirits from his trench coat. However, Lan Chi, who was still running and was about to shake off the evil spirit, suddenly slipped on a banana peel on the ground and fell for some unknown reason. I hate bananas. Lan Chi lay on the ground, turning his head to look at the evil spirit that was about to rush over. Come on, my virginity, take it if you want it. The evil spirit naturally wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Since just now, she had smelled a unique scent on this man, a scent that was extremely tempting and must be delicious. Like a dark lightning bolt, the evil spirit suddenly crashed into Lan Chi's chest, completely filling his body. Almost instantly, the world in Lan Chi's eyes shook and spun continuously. Cold, shaking. When Lan Chi woke up, he found himself lying on a cold metal floor. He suddenly stood up. The surroundings looked like a train car, a moving train car. Outside the window, it was pitch black, and only the train car was constantly shaking. What is this place? He clearly remembered that the evil spirit had crashed into his body, so how did he suddenly appear in a cold train car? This wasn't scientific at all. The surrounding temperature was gradually decreasing, and the darkness outside the window was churning like thick asphalt. Lan Chi stumbled, leaning against the metal wall. The cold texture and the constantly shaking train car made his mind feel like a blur. His already agitated mind became even more agitated now. Shit. Fool evil spirit, why did it target me? He cursed. What if my mental illness gets worse? Suddenly, the train car jolted violently, and Lan Chi was abruptly thrown to the other side. Countless black tentacles suddenly emerged from the metal floor, as if there was a giant octopus underneath, tightly wrapping around his ankles. The tentacles were covered with suckers, looking a bit like three, constantly sucking on Lan Chi's calves. Perhaps because this was the depths of his consciousness and soul. Lan Chi didn't feel any fear or dread. He felt that perhaps because of his mental illness, he was becoming more and more agitated, and he even wanted to laugh a little. I'm a 5-star good citizen, and I'm the kind of mental patient who often plays Cthulhu campaigns. Where the fool did that evil spirit go? Lan Chi cursed. He was still planning to help Silent Bat with his treatment. He, I'm here. A sharp female voice suddenly sounded from above Lan Chi's head. The voice was as if a woman with a hoarse throat was trying to sing the highest-pitched song in the world to you. Harsh and discordant. Lan Chi looked up and saw a dark figure clinging to the ceiling. Shit. Are you Spider Woman? On the ceiling, the woman's limbs were twisted irregularly, clinging there. Tattered white clothes hung on her body, making her look like a spider. Her face was pale, her eyes and nose were covered with crimson bloodstains, her entire face was distorted, and her mouth was eerily split to her ears. She looked like someone who could scare a 3-year-old child to tears. The evil spirit gave Lan Chi a ferocious and terrifying smile. A putrid, rotten smell emanated from her mouth, and even a drop of black-red blood dripped from her face. Plop. Lan Chi turned his body, and the pus and blood immediately dripped onto the metal floor, making a hissing sound. The moment he looked down at where the pus and blood fell, the mother evil spirit moved one step closer to him. Lan Chi turned his head again, quickly looking back up. A little closer. Turn his head again, look back. A little closer again. He wanted to continue turning his head and looking back. However, the mother evil spirit got angry. How long do you want to play? She instantly appeared in front of Lan Chi, her twisted, sharp fingers gripping Lan Chi's neck tightly, directly lifting the mental patient. I don't have time to play those idiotic games with you. After speaking, her hands began to exert force continuously, and extremely sharp talons repeatedly stabbed at Lan Chi's arm, while a cruel smile appeared on her face. He, suffer, wail, give me all your fear, give me all your soul. Every time she pierced this human's arm, the mother evil spirit could feel her power working, and the mental pressure applied to this guy was constantly increasing. As soon as this human's mind completely collapsed, she would be able to enjoy her meal. But, are you done playing? Lan Chi looked somewhat bored at this mother evil spirit who wanted to play cosplay with him. It was his first time seeing something like an evil spirit, and he instinctively didn't want to be entered by the other party. After all, he was a normal heteroromantical, and this guy was clearly a mother evil spirit. If anyone was going to enter, it should be him entering her body. But now that she was already in, there was nothing he could do, so he just had to see what this guy was playing at. As a result, she was trying to apply mental pressure to him in the depths of his consciousness and soul, wishing to cause him mental harm. Laughable, what kind of mental pressure could destroy a mental patient who was becoming more and more agitated? The evil spirit froze. It was the first time she had seen her moves have no effect on a human. Besides smearing my face with blood, what else can you do? Lan Chi blinked, lying on the ground, his face covered in blood, letting the mother evil spirit sit on him. But in the mother evil spirit's eyes, this appearance, combined with such words, was like a thirsty wife mocking her impotent, useless husband. Why are you completely fine? The mother evil spirit, refusing to believe it, pressed down heavily on Lan Chi's body, her hands waving up and down, continuously stabbing at his body. PFF'd. 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 Sharp talon continuously pierced Lan Chi's body, and scarlet blood gushed out, looking incredibly chilling. But because Lan Chi remained unmoved, without even a hint of reaction, this horrifying scene became somewhat awkward and stiff. One might even think that the exorcist who was supposed to banish the evil spirit was being thoroughly drained of his magic by the evil spirit. Why do you have no reaction at all? The mother evil spirit was somewhat on the verge of collapse. It was her first time encountering such a human. Why should I react? It doesn't hurt, it doesn't itch, I feel nothing, and all you've done is get me covered in blood. Lan Chi said as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Mother evil spirit. What's going on? Is this guy even human? No fear, no dread, no emotions at all. Is this even human? Could it be that some great god has descended? You're done, right? Suddenly, Lan Chi's voice came from below. Since you're finished, then it's my turn. What does that mean? The mother evil spirit was a bit bewildered, but then, a strange sensation from below suddenly made her face change drastically. No. You can't. She only felt a huge force coming from below, instantly sending the mother evil spirit flying, slamming her hard against the metallic ceiling. Why don't you have any fear? She wanted to escape, but suddenly realized her body couldn't move at all. I'm a mental patient. In my mental domain, how can you make me feel fear? Lan Chi stood up, patted the bloodstains off himself, and under the increasing effect of his mental state, he instantly became like before. It was as if the mother evil spirit had never been there, leaving no trace. The mother evil spirit's eyes widened at this sight, her face filled with shock. What kind of person are you, after all? I'm just a mental patient. Lan Chi answered honestly, while elbowing the mother evil spirit hard in the chest. Accompanied by a resonant, man, sound effect, the mother evil spirit's full chest immediately caved in. Countless streams of foul blood splattered and flew, looking utterly miserable. How is this possible? The mother evil spirit's face was filled with terror as she desperately fled towards the front of the carriage. This was not a contest between an evil spirit and an ordinary person, it was a contest between an evil spirit and some unknown mentally ill god. The evil spirit could only cover Lan Chi's face with blood, while every one of Lan Chi's elbow strikes carried immense mental power. If he landed a solid hit on the mother evil spirit, it would at least make her feel like she was dying. Although he didn't know why, Lan Chi felt it might be related to his mental illness. Of course, he was also enjoying the beating. Can't you hold back a little strength? Please let me go, okay? The mother evil spirit knelt on the ground, looking pitiful, and even her previous eerie and vicious appearance instantly transformed into a woman with a hot figure and a normal face. As long as you let me go, I'll do anything. A sweet, coquettish voice entered Lan Chi's ears. Looking at the mother evil spirit before him, with her delicate features, skin like congealed fat, fair complexion, ample curves, watery eyes, and even wearing transparent lace underwear. There was not a ripple in his heart, he felt no worldly desires whatsoever. Although he was a mental patient who often masturbated when seeing hallucinations, he wasn't a normal person, and he wouldn't do what normal people would do. What's more, just because you've transformed into this, does that mean I should let you go? Lan Chi said righteously, I won't let you go, and I can still force you to transform into this, and even more variations. I'll play whatever tricks I want. Today you'll be a nun, tomorrow a nurse, the day after a teacher, and the day after that a. Just thinking about it, the mother evil spirit couldn't help but swallow, filled with despair for her tragic future. Even an evil spirit would be broken by this kind of thing. Slap. Slap. Lan Chi slapped the mother evil spirit twice across the face, looking at her with some displeasure. What kind of look is that? What? You're not happy playing with a mental patient like me? Just now, I cooperated with you and played with you several times, so it's time for you to cooperate with me, isn't it? The other party's face showed a fearful expression, and her entire face turned pale, as if what he was doing was so terrifying that even an evil spirit was afraid. It was clearly a very fair exchange. He first cooperated with her in playing the evil spirit killing game, and then Lan Chi would have the evil spirit cooperate with him in playing the game. That's all. Why did this mother evil spirit look so unwilling? It's not that I'm so unwilling, it's just that your body seems unable to bear it. She seemed to have thought of something, and a glint immediately appeared in her eyes. Yes. Your body can't bear it, otherwise, you'll get sick. She should let me go, right? After all, after an evil spirit possesses a human, it does bring a huge burden, and after a long time, it can cause mental breakdown, turning a normal person into a mental patient, or even death. But, can't bear it. Lan Chi raised an eyebrow, so you're saying you're very brave. Back in Arkham Asylum, I was known as 16 times a night. Masturbating 16 times a night was nothing. You think a tiny evil spirit like you can wear me down? And I'm already sick. Once I have a mental illness, I won't get any other illnesses. He was very confident in his wisdom. In his previous life, his father had told him, son, you possess astonishing wisdom, you will surely become a talent someday. Whether he was a talent or not, Lan Chi didn't know, but after being run over by a bus and dying, he transmigrated and studied in Arkham Asylum for 2.5 years. This should also count as an alternative kind of talent, right? After all, Arkham University is so famous. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Twisted scratches were carved into the metal floor. The mother evil spirit gripped with her sharp claws, but still couldn't stop her fate of being dragged away. Her eyes were filled with despair and regret. Shit. Sour radish fool. Holy crab. The poor evil spirit could only express her dissatisfaction with this fool world through some curses. The mother evil spirit couldn't understand, she really couldn't understand. Why was a random mental patient so unreasonable? She clearly had the advantage, so why did she lose? What are you going to do? No. You can't. A terrified and flustered voice spread throughout the cold, trembling carriage, making one curious about what kind of morally bankrupt, humanity distorting things were happening inside. Thanks for watching.